Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm back again with special guest Ben Metcalf from 3 Minute Horror and 3 Minute Horror Reviews. and Now we're doing the Child's Play series. We did the Nightmare on Elm Street series, we did the Hostel series, we did Friday the 13th, we did Halloween on Ben's channel. Now we're on to Child's Play. So we're kicking it off with the 1988 classic Child's Play. So let's go. What did you think of this one?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I really liked it. Now, the first one is probably it's not my favorite in the series, but I definitely really do like this series. It is iconic, as you mentioned. Chucky is an iconic villain. I mean, they even make pets costumes of Chucky, right? So that people can walk or people can put a Chucky costume on their dog and he can run around and with a little knife and all that kind of business, right? Chucky's iconic. Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky, iconic. I mean, they couldn't have picked a better voice for the character. He is fantastic in this series, and yeah, who knew that it was going to last as long as it did? It's kind of a gimmick movie, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting that it starts off in the same way we're going to be doing the Hatchet series soon on your channel, in that it starts off where the series is not named after the character. It has a
Yeah,
completely different name. And then as it goes, sooner or later, they switch over and they realize, hey, I think our character is actually more popular than the name of the series. So they switch it over. So after Child's Play 3, we turn into Bride of Chucky. We have Chucky in the title because the name
yeah,
Chucky is famous. They do that in Hatchet. The fourth one is Victor Crowley. And
yeah,
I'm even tempted to do that with Grotesque. Like, I didn't expect Grotesque to become that popular. And all of a sudden, everyone's talking Mildred Moyer, Mildred Moyer. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, shit, we should have called it Mildred Moyer. So I was tempted for the second one to call it Mildred Moyer, Grotesque 2.
yeah,
But sooner or later, we're probably going to have to flip that over. They did the same with Rambo. It started off as First Blood, but then everyone knew Rambo, so it became Rambo in every title. So I
yeah.
just thought that was interesting because I bet you that they didn't know it was going to be that iconic. It was just a movie about a possessed doll. It's not the only one. There's other movies about evil dolls, but this one something clicked, and all of a sudden Chucky, probably like you said, because of Brad Dourif's voice and his look, just
Yeah.
became iconic. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
It would also be a good idea to change the name from Grotesque to Mildred Moyer so you can get away from the association with the Japanese movie.
That too. Which is funny because there's also an American movie with Linda Blair
Oh,
from the
right.
80s
Yeah.
called, but no one ever mentions that one. They only mention the Japanese one. So
Yeah, because nobody cares about the Linda Blair one. Another thing about this series is it was created by a guy named Don Mancini, and he's maintained the writer status. He's written every one of the mainline ones. I don't know if he did the remake, but he's written every one of the mainstream Child's Play movies, as well as the Chucky TV series. So it's had a cohesive artistic vision throughout the entire thing. Now, maybe his vision has changed a little along the way, and that's his prerogative, but it doesn't suffer um, the same drawbacks that Friday the 13th or Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street do when the writers keep changing and they keep
yeah,
deciding, oh, I'm going to take something a different direction, and then somebody has to come and try and pull it back into shape.
the first one you could tell a lot of other series do this too, where they start off horror, straight horror, very serious,
Yeah.
and as they go on, they become more campy.
Hmm.
So it's funny that whether they have different writers or the same guy, it's like that's a natural progression. Like by the time they get to Bride of Chucky, all of a sudden it's just like it's not so much horror anymore as it is just fun, campy comedy type stuff. And we saw that with Freddy Krueger. We even saw that with Friday the 13th. They,
Yeah.
they, they tend to change, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I love some of the later Chucky movies where they're funny, but it's interesting to go back and watch the first one, and it's like, wow, this is 100% serious. Like there's no jokes in this.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the things Chucky says could be considered like dark humor, but not really. It was suspenseful. It was scary. They even had some. I wanted to ask your opinion on this. They had
Yeah.
some other horror elements in there. I could buy that. Okay, a criminal puts his soul into the doll. Yeah, you have to buy that premise for the movie to work.
Yeah.
But then they added some stuff later on, only really in one scene, where all of a sudden he's got like a voodoo doll and other stuff.
Yeah.
And that I thought that was kind of cool. It's cool when he's breaking the guy's legs. It
Yeah.
just seemed kind of out of place. It's like that's kind of going a bit too far, which is strange because the whole movie's about a possessed doll. Like
Yeah.
it seemed like I'm like they should have just kept it more down to earth. I don't know what do you think about that?
Um, well, I mean, they had to work the fact that he had a voodoo instructor into it somehow, right? Like he was learning voodoo from somebody. And so when you learn voodoo, you're not just learning how to transfer your soul into a doll, you're also learning how to do, you got to learn how to do the easier stuff first. And the easier stuff is probably like a voodoo doll, right?
Yeah,
When he's praying to Damballa. I remembered the name of the god, Damballa.
yeah. Give me the
Yeah.
power I meant you.
I thought it was interesting. You can really tell that Don Mancini was influenced by the Twilight Zone Talkie Tina episode. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I've not seen that one though.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a one that stuck with me when I was a kid. I was probably like 6 or 7 when I saw it, and it's one of the old black and white episodes. It's got a talking doll, like one of the ones where you pull the string on the back, and this one. The doll behaved normally around everyone except the father of the family, the father of the little girl that owned it. And when he'd pull the string on it, it's a, hi, my name is Taki Tina, and I'm gonna kill you, and that sort of thing. Right? So you can it really kind of wears that influence on its sleeve, this movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I love those old Twilight. Not to get off topic, but I've been watching the was it the late '80s remake
Yeah,
Twilight,
yeah.
and they're not that good. I don't know. They're different. Like I saw a few of the black and white ones, and they're much better. But
The black and white ones were more kind of horror stories or life lesson stories. The ones that came later in the 80s were more kind of like Ray Bradbury tales. They're kind of like
yeah, yeah,
sci-fi weird stories. Something like you might see on the X-Files.
and they had like a more positive like they weren't like they were more like feel good stories. There was
Yeah,
a lot of them that you're expecting some kind of cool twist, like a Tales from the Crypt twist, and then
yeah.
it doesn't come, and it's like these are not good. But
That was the
still,
problem with network television in the 80s for sure, that you
yeah,
had to do that. But the ones in the 60s, they didn't have happy endings. That's for sure.
yeah. So yeah, I like. I think the little boy in the movie was like phenomenal actor for like how little he was, like, and just how much he had
Yeah.
to do. Like, holy crap! Like he stole the show.
I wonder if his character was supposed to be a suck, because Andy was kind of a little kind of a little sucky guy, right?
Yeah, yeah. It also it makes me wonder. I have a hard. I think the hardest thing to believe about this movie, even more so than the possessed doll, is that young boys would be so interested in this good guy doll. I think boy would be more interested in GI Joe, like action figure wrestlers, like things that involve some sort of fighting rather than just an innocent, friendly doll.
I don't know. Were you around when My Buddy was popular? Like I was a
No,
kid when My Buddy dolls came out, and My Buddy, either My Buddy came out right before this, or My Buddy came out right after this. And if they brought out the My Buddy dolls right after this movie, that's insane, because they looked almost exactly alike. They were very close, and maybe we can throw up a picture of this on there later. I don't know, but My Buddy dolls, they look ridiculously like Chucky, and so.
no.
He probably based it on that, and partially on Cabbage Patch. I think I read that he liked
I
the Cabbage
remember
Patch.
Cabbage Patch, but they were not advertised for little boys, and they were more of
No,
like a girl's toy. I guess they could
yeah,
technically be both, but
there
yeah,
was a
maybe I'm wrong. I just or maybe that's the
yeah.
toys I was interested in as a kid. But
Well, I mean, I was interested in the toys that you're talking about too, but my brother's age, he was a couple of years younger. When they were advertising My Buddy and Kid Sister, My Buddy was for the boys and Kid Sister was for the
okay,
girls. Yeah, and they would have little talking bits too.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe it's an age thing. Maybe just once you hit 8 or something, that's when you get interested in the cool toys. I
yeah,
don't. It's been a long
exactly.
time since I was that age. I can't remember what I was into, but
Yeah, I had the big rubber WWF guys and
oh yeah,
the
so do I.
Ninja Turtles and the He-Mans and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
all
think we,
kind
we
of
probably had the exact same toys.
So what happens in this movie is, for the folks that don't know at home, Brad Dourif is a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray, and he is a strangler. He likes to strangle people, and he kills them in other ways too. But this movie starts off with him running through. He's running away from a cop who's Chris Sarandon, the star of Fright Night, the guy who played the original Jerry Dandridge in the original Fright Night movie. He's chasing him through the through this warehouse, through this factory, and he is shot and he's dying and he knows he's dying. So he does the voodoo ritual, as we mentioned before, to put his body into a doll. And then the factory explodes. So you think, okay, what's going to happen next? Well, everybody knows what's going to happen next. He becomes a doll. The what happens after that is some guy, some dirty fellow, finds his way into this factory and he starts rifling through everything that's left and he finds one of these good guy dolls. And it just so happens to be the Brad Dourif, Charles Lee Ray good guy doll. And he sells it to the mom from Seventh Heaven. I don't know if you remember that show, Seventh Heaven, but this lady
Yeah.
was the mom in Seventh Heaven. And for the folks at home that don't know what Seventh Heaven was, it was a show that Jessica Biel was on when she was very young. And now she's 40, so that shows how old that show is. And so she buys the doll from this guy. This doll, since his name is since Charles Lee Ray is the name of the serial killer, he says that his name is Chucky to Andy, the little boy.
Yeah, and funny enough, I forgot that he was named Chucky because of Charles Lee Ray. I thought
Yeah,
all the dolls were named Chucky, and he was the one. It wasn't until I was rewatching it, and then they show an advertisement. The doll's like, "My name is Oscar," and
yeah,
I'm like, "Oh yeah, right. It's the dolls have individual names," and it's like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, duh, that makes sense." I kind of forgot from that. So it is such a, it's one of those things, kind of like Freddy Krueger, where if the name was different, it wouldn't be as effective. You know,
yeah,
if his name was Spencer instead of Chucky, it just wouldn't have the same ring. It just,
exactly.
Chucky just sounds cool. Like
Or
it just
like
it kind of,
Dave. My
yeah,
name is
yeah,
Dave.
yeah. It just wouldn't.
Oh,
It's a fine name. It just wouldn't quite work for this. And of course, as the movie goes on, the little boy or the doll starts acting very weird around the boy because the doll doesn't want to be a doll anymore. He wants to get revenge on the people that screwed him over, and he
yeah,
wants to do his own thing. So he's trying to tell this boy, like, help me out. And the doll starts acting evilly, and of course no one believes the boy
right.
that Chucky's real, and there's some suspicious deaths that happen, and people start suspecting the boy's involved when it's actually Chucky. One credit I will give this movie that some of the later ones, the next two, didn't do so well, is that they didn't push the no one believes him thing too far. There's a certain point where, okay, all the evidence is pointing that this 6-year-old boy did not murder all these people.
Yeah,
And I'm glad that eventually the mom starts believing, the cop starts believing,
yeah,
and it's like, okay. And I think that's kind of where it got cool, is where all of a sudden the mom and the cop they're all trying to fight Chucky. There
yeah.
was like a whole lot of cool scenes. If they had did the whole movie right after the climax of no one believing him, it just would have been too much, I think.
Yeah, at one point in time, they were going to put him in a hospital, in a psychiatric hospital, but in the end, they didn't because it all kicked off before they could do that. And yeah, he Chucky manages to kill some people before everything goes down. He manages to kill the babysitter with a hammer. I remember that. And then he also convinces Andy to take him downtown so that he can blow up his friend or the guy who sold him out, the guy who left him behind
Yeah.
when he ended up getting killed. So I know that he did those two things. At this point, I think it was also a little guy it wasn't a little person wearing the Chucky costume.
I think I've seen kind of like documentaries on it for some of
Yeah,
the parts where he's moving around more. I
yeah,
think they had to do that because it looks a little bit strange. Like I don't know if they just made the set bigger, because even like a little person would be bigger than the Chucky doll. So I
yeah,
think they did something like that with forced perspective. But a
right.
lot of it, they used a doll or some sort of puppet. They even in the house, like the apartment, they had a
Yeah.
raised floor, so there
Mhm.
would be guys like under the floor, crouched
Oh,
down,
okay.
operating the puppet. So whenever you see Chucky but without legs,
Yeah.
that's what they're
Oh,
doing.
okay. That
And then
makes
they'll
sense.
do a lot of face shots, hand shots. Like they did very good for the limited technology they
Yeah.
had in effects. Like it actually looks really cool.
I think he had a smaller budget with this one too. I don't think it was a huge budget.
Yeah, and I think they probably blew like half the budget on that opening scene with the exploding store and everything.
Oh yeah.
I wish they kept that. It was just like too much action. I don't like it when horror movies, like especially slasher movies, have too much action in them, like
Mm.
explosions and stuff. Like it kind of takes me out. I think it would have been cooler if they just shot Charles Lee Ray and he died there after putting his soul in the doll,
Yeah.
rather than just going. I think they wanted to keep people excited right off the bat with all
Yeah.
these cool explosions because it took some build up of the finding the doll and the doll slowly turning evil and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was overall a smaller budget, and I think it was better for that. If they had had more, they would have done more crazy action stuff. I think.
Yeah, for sure. And then so Chris Sarandon, the cop, and as you mentioned, the cop and the mom team up. They believe Andy now that the doll's evil, And so they go and they talk to the voodoo guy, and the voodoo guy tells them the voodoo guy has just been grievously, fatally injured by Chucky. So this guy's dying, and on his in his dying breath, he's telling them that the doll is becoming more human. The longer Charles Lee Ray spends in this doll, the more human this doll is going to become, and then eventually he won't be able to transfer his soul out of it. And so he wants to transfer his soul into Andy so that I guess he can be a kid all over again. Although it would really suck being like a 9-year-old all over again when you're 40, because you're going to have to wait many years before you can actually do any of the stuff that you did when you were an adult, right? But so that would suck. But they punctuate that by making it so that you can see Chucky starts bleeding red blood when he gets injured. So he actually is getting hurt. And so then they figure out that they're supposed to, the only way you can kill this doll is by destroying his heart, his actual human becoming heart, I guess, although it's only partway there. Who knows? It's crazy. But that's when the movie really kicks off, and it gets really, really good after that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good just death scenes in it,
Yeah,
and the whole like climax where
yeah,
they throw there's like probably three or four like you think it's done and it's not. You know,
yeah,
they throw Chucky in the fireplace and they burn him and he's burned to a crisp. But then
yeah.
he just comes back and then they're like shooting him and they blow off his head and his arms and his legs and his body's still fighting him. And then the that's the mom and the cop and the boy are there. And then the cop's partner comes in and of course he's like, "You guys are crazy. His
Yeah.
doll's not possessed." And but it is possessed and it starts fighting him and then finally they shoot him through the heart and then that's the end of it.
The flaming Chucky, like when he comes out of the fire and he's half on fire and he's attacking them. Primo cinematography looks great, looks awesome, very cool. Probably the coolest shot in the whole movie is the flaming doll coming after
Yeah.
them. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts, that's for sure.
Couple minor. I hate to pick this movie apart because it's
Yeah.
so good, but there was a couple of scenes that just kind of bothered me a bit, and they were
Mhm.
both really good scenes. The one was it's actually one of my favorite parts of the movie is where Chris Sarandon, the cop, is driving in the car, and Chucky's in the back seat with a knife, and he starts stabbing through the seat, like through
Yeah.
the back and under it. And of course, Chris Sarandon's like trying to prop himself up so he doesn't get stabbed in the balls or in the back. And but the thing is, he doesn't stop the car. It's
Yeah.
like he just keeps driving, and eventually Chucky goes in and puts his hand on the gas.
Yeah.
But still, like I get it that you're trying not to be stabbed, but if you could get stabbed being parked or get stabbed driving 100 miles an hour down the road, would you
Yeah.
just rather be parked? I
Yeah.
just found like he just kept driving and he's like weaving in and out of traffic. I just had a hard time believing he wouldn't just lightly tap the brake to stop. It's get it that it makes the scene more exciting. I
Yeah.
didn't believe it. And the other part was when Chucky's killing the old guy from the psychiatric hospital,
Yeah.
and he puts this like shock helmet on him and starts shocking him.
Yeah.
But the guy's like arms are free. Why didn't you just pull it off? He's just like laying there getting shocked over and over again. And
Maybe you kind of liked it.
I don't know. They didn't show his arms. So I think
Yeah.
they tried to cheat that so people wouldn't notice. But yeah, his arms are free. He would have just knocked it off. But
Yeah.
those are minor criticisms.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not a perfect movie, that's for sure. It is a little goofy and everything, but it was really, really good. Better than a lot of the stuff I watch. What would you rate this one overall?
It's hard. I go 8. Like I think
Yeah.
it's really good.
Mhm.
I've seen it before, like a few times, but I haven't seen it in like many years.
Yeah.
So I only had vague memories of it, and sometimes you have to reassess things and watch it again every once in a while to see is it as good as I remember.
Yeah.
And it is like it's just a very well done movie. And the thing is, at the time they didn't have the popularity of Chucky to ride the coattails of. They didn't know
Hmm.
it was going to be popular. They didn't know this character was going to be popular. They had to only work with a evil possessed doll movie. That's it. The other ones, it's like they already have a built-in audience. Oh, Chucky's up to something new now. Back
Yeah.
here, it's like this may work, may not. So they did a lot to make it suspenseful. They tried really hard. By the time you got to part 4, there's not really any suspense anymore. It's just pure
Yeah.
camp.
You already know
Um,
what he can do.
yeah, but in this one, it's very well done. So I'd give it an 8. What would you give it?
I gave it a 7 overall. I mean, I probably would have given it an 8 when I first watched it, or a 9 when I was a teenager. But yeah, it did have some bits that were kind of they kind of dragged a bit. Some parts that I didn't find all that great, but It was really overall, it was a really good movie. Lots of cool visuals. The Chucky character, iconic. Brad Dourif, they couldn't have picked a better guy. I do think that, I mean, Andy, yes, he's a good actor, but the kid's kind of a suck, right? And they
Yeah.
keep with him for the next couple of movies. It's the same kid. So, I
Oh,
mean,
is the
yeah,
third one the same kid?
it's the same kid all through. He's
Oh,
still playing the same. When they show Andy in the Chucky TV show, it's still the same actor too. Like
oh,
they've never replaced Andy, as far as I know. I mean, drag me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I know in the next two at least, it's still the same
oh.
guy, and in the Chucky TV show too.
And I guess that's another cool thing about this one that
Yeah.
makes it a bit different. This is the only one you actually get to see Brad Dourif as a human.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
From the rest of the next like 30 years, he's just I think you can see his picture maybe, but you never get to see him actually in it. So
Yeah.
the whole opening scene here, you actually get to see him running around, and it's funny because he's been in a lot of other movies, but
Mhm.
looking back here, it's like holy crap, is he so young looking?
Oh, I think one of the reasons why I dropped a point off of it was the unnecessary sexual assault because there like in a lot of these 80s movies there's an unnecessary sexual assault.
Oh, with the homeless guy and the mom.
Yeah. With
It
the
was
guy who
it
sold
wasn't
her the
very
doll.
graphic. He was just kind of hinting he was going to do that, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and then the cop. It was yeah, I see what you mean. It didn't bother me that much because it wasn't like they cut it pretty early.
Yeah.
It was yeah, it was unnecessary,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Maybe if this hadn't been aimed at a theatrical audience, because this one definitely was a mass market movie. Like it was a one for everyone. It was a national release one across all the theaters. Then maybe it would have gone farther into that, and so I'm glad it didn't. But yeah, it I didn't think that was necessary. Doesn't need to be in every movie, guys.
yeah. All right, so I guess that's it for that one. So we'll be
Yeah.
back next time with Child's Play 2. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm back for another movie review with Ben Metcalf from 3 Minute Horror Reviews. We're doing the Child's Play series now. We did the first one last time. Now we're on to Child's Play 2. This one came out in 1990, is it? I think.
Yep. 1990.
1990. So this is a follow-up to the first one, which introduced the world to Chucky, aka Charles Lee Ray. We both gave it a positive review. It's an amazing movie. Now the sequel. This was in the era where sequels were known to suck.
Yeah.
It's not so much a thing anymore because they try to make sequels good, but back in this time, most sequels were horrible.
Yeah.
This one was not. It was not horrible. Um, I don't think it was as good as the first movie, but it was still a damn good movie. We'll start with you, Ben. What did you think of it?
Well, I'm going to argue with you on this one because I think that this one was better than the first movie. And
Oh,
in fact, I think that this Child's Play 2 is one of the best horror sequels of all time. Like, it was really, really strong, in my opinion, anyway. It had a different director. The first director, I forgot to mention it in the last one, was a guy named Tom Holland, not the Spider-Man kid. He wasn't born yet, probably. But this one is directed by a guy named John Lafia. So the different director. All the movies have that we're going to be talking about pretty much have different directors, all the same writer. So I believe that this is one of the best horror sequels of all time. I think that their budget was a lot bigger, based on how well the first movie did. They got a lot more money for this one, and there's a lot more. The effects are a lot better. The effects were good in the first one. They're really good in this one. The doll itself, the Chucky doll itself, has a lot more articulation in the face in this one than it did the first one. He can do a lot more things, like he can move his eyebrows around a lot, and he can move his cheeks and his mouth around a lot too, and not just talking. They can do a lot more things with it this time. I think it was really, really well done.
yeah, I agree. I think it's. I don't want to say it's far behind the first one.
Yeah.
My main issue with it is right off the bat. I get it that they may not even have planned a sequel when they made the first one,
Hmm.
and now they're like, oh shit, like how could this evil doll be a secret when these police officers know about it? So they start the movie off with the same little boy Andy,
Yeah.
and of course no one believes his story, and his mom. They're like she went into court and swore that this doll was alive,
Yeah.
and now she's in a mental institution. And they said that the police swept the whole thing under the rug and denied it. It's like what? So after this whole first movie where this cop was fighting Chucky, him and his partner then just totally threw her under the bus and were like, "Hey, she's lying. There was no evil doll." It's like, well, come on, guys, you'll step up and tell people what happened. And So instead, they just allow some poor woman to wind up in a mental institution. Obviously, they did that just to quickly explain away so they could restart over with no one believing the boy. But
Yeah.
it just right off the bat, it's like, come on. It kind of made me mad to just set the tone a bit negative for the entire movie.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of yucky. It's not nearly as bad as the whole between H2O and Halloween Resurrection thing, where they just completely reversed course on the ending. The
Yeah, oh
ending
yeah, I
still
saw
happened. Yeah.
that. And yeah, with this one, I could forgive it, I guess, because it is a cool movie. But it is. I don't know if I would have preferred a different story. I mean, they told what they told, but
Hmm.
it might have been interesting that it's like, yeah, there are some people that even if the cops said that this was real, there would still be people out there that didn't believe it. It wouldn't be like people wouldn't
Yeah.
instantly believe it, but it might have been more interesting rather than going through all the same story beats again of it's becoming increasingly obvious that this toy is alive, but everyone refuses to believe this boy who's so adamant. It's
Yeah,
kind of like you
that's
did that in
true.
the first movie. Now you're just doing it again, but with different elements in there.
Different
So
people.
it's kind of the reason I gave it a bit. It's not quite as good as the first, in my opinion.
All right, I can see that. Did they
Yeah.
mention Chris Sarandon's cop character at all? Because
Oh,
maybe he's in the mental institution too, and the
yeah.
other cop sandbagged all of them.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, they had two cops that saw it, and they would have like, what did they write in their report? Like they would have had to, when the cops show up and there's a burned apartment and they've been shooting guns and all this, like they would have had to been like, what the hell happened? And what are they
Yeah,
going to say? Like, oh, the 8-year-old boy did it all. Like,
yeah,
they would have had some sort of record, but instead they're just like, let's just in one sentence wipe away all of that and then carry on as usual. In a way, it was fine because the movie was so cool. Like I loved every
yeah,
second of it. But that did kind of make me groan a little bit.
yeah. In this one,
Yeah,
Sorry, not Tommy Jarvis. I was going to say Andy's all messed up, but he's not Tommy Jarvis messed up. He's just kind of messed up.
yeah. Like all things considered, he's um he's keeping it together, right? He's
Yeah,
not just like breaking down. He he finds the will to continue to fight back and be proactive and everything. And
yeah,
in
he's
this
pretty
one,
good.
he's in a foster home,
Yeah,
and there's another teenage girl there who's been bouncing around between foster homes. And of course, at first, no one believes in both Chucky, but she eventually finds out herself that he's real. And of course, the parents of this foster home, the dad's kind of a dick, and they just
yeah.
and he's like, "Fine, we'll get rid of the doll," and he gets rid of it by throwing it down the basement stairs, so it's just laying right there, still in the house. Think somehow this is going to solve the problem.
The two parents in this one, the foster parents, are kind of horror movie alumni too. So Garrett Graham, the guy that plays the dad, the foster dad, he was from Bud the Chud from Chud 2 and from
Okay,
Terror Vision. He was the dad in Terror Vision as well.
okay,
And then the mom is I don't know how you pronounce her last name. I think it's Agouter or Agouté. I don't know if she's French or what. But she played an evil architect in the movie Dark Tower. So they're both kind of horror movie people as well.
okay,
Before we see all of that, though, we do know that Chucky is coming back because for whatever reason, the company, the good guys company, decides that it's a good idea to try and rebuild this doll to figure out what went wrong with it for quality control purposes. And so naturally, um, the guys that are working on the rebuilding, like it's a great idea, right? Not really, because some of the quality control guys die in the process of this thing being rebuilt. Because it is a cursed doll, like he's full of voodoo mumbo jumbo. But he does get rebuilt in the end.
one thing it's kind of strange. Like I get it that they want to prove because obviously after the first movie, the little boy and the mom went public with all this killer doll stuff, which
Yeah.
made the company that made the doll look bad. Their share price went down because everyone's like, "Oh, the scary doll, we don't want it." So
Oh,
they want
right.
to prove that hey, there's nothing wrong with this doll; it's normal. But couldn't they do that without like totally refurbishing the entire thing so it's pristine again? Like they if they still had all the components of it, it just
Yeah.
seems weird. They have to make it look 100% new and then like resell that exact doll. It just
And
seems
I
a bit.
thought that everybody thought it was the kid that did it anyway, not the doll. So, and I had forgotten about the fiduciary responsibility of it. So you got to protect the shareholders by ensuring that it's not the company's fault at all. But I mean, still, if everybody's blaming this kid for doing that stuff, and the mom is in the mental hospital because she says it was the doll, then why is the doll company even entertaining that, even humoring that thought at all?
Yeah, I don't think they would have to. The kind of people that would believe that,
Yeah.
they would not care about any sort of evidence. They just want to believe what they want to believe. But they needed a reason. It's like, why would Chucky be rebuilt? And honestly, I can't think of a better reason.
Yeah.
That's a pretty
Then
decent one. So it's like it works.
liability.
Doesn't quite make sense, but it works. And of course,
Yeah.
Chucky just leaves a trail of destruction everywhere he goes. Um, and now he wants to find Andy again because
Yeah.
he needs to transfer his soul into him, and he can only
Yeah.
transfer soul into the first person he revealed himself to.
Yeah.
So he can't just pick some random person. He has to find this one particular boy.
That magic kind of falls apart in the next one, but it also kind of works in the next one too, now that I think more about it. So,
Yeah, we can discuss that when we get to it.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I think they needed a reason. It's like, why would Chucky be so adamant to go after one young boy? Why couldn't he just pick some homeless person? There's just someone that's passed out. Like, he had other options, but it's like, no, it has to be this one person. That's why he's always going after them. And
Yeah.
it's a good enough ploy to make the movie work, I think.
What do you think of the house that he got moved into, the kid, the foster house? Because for a foster family that took on a boy that old, that age, this is the least child-friendly house that I've ever seen. They've got like tchotchkes and decorations and antiques everywhere. Nothing can be touched because everything is breakable. This kid cannot win in this situation.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like a house that's warm to having children there. This seems like an older couple that won't allow anyone under 21 to set foot in their house because they might break something. But I guess they wanted a scary looking house. That's why like the basement. There's some scenes in the
Yeah.
basement with Chucky, so that it's obviously an unfinished basement where you figure if they had a constant stream of kids coming through, they would have a play area down there or
Yeah.
something. Instead, it's just like a spooky dark basement.
They did make this kid feel welcome, though, by giving him a good guy doll, which seems like an odd choice considering what had just happened with this kid. Let's
Actually,
re-traumatize him.
I think they didn't give it to him. He just found it in the room. You
Oh, it
open the
was
closet
there.
door
Yeah.
and it fell out. Uh, and that's another thing that that plot point where the older foster girl, the teenage one,
Yeah.
discovers Chucky. It doesn't quite work because what happens is Chucky, the real possessed doll, comes and finds this other good guy doll in the
Yeah.
house, but he wants to replace it, pretend he's that doll. So he takes the other one in the backyard and buries it in the backyard,
Yeah.
and then he takes its place. And then later, the teenage girl takes, because after all, the boy claiming Chucky's real, she's like, let's get rid of it. She takes it out, throws it in the garbage, and then she's sitting in the backyard and on the swings and accidentally kicks up some dirt and finds the other Chucky, or finds the other good guy doll that
Yeah.
Chucky buried there. And all of a sudden she's like, oh my God. She has some realization. And then she goes back and realizes Chucky's gone from the garbage. But I don't think, what connection would she make? She's probably like, why is there a second good guy doll buried here? That's weird. I don't think that would lead her to believe that that must mean that the other doll is possessed. And I don't think that quite added up.
I wouldn't have made that connection myself, but I'm not a teenage girl named Kyle, so you never know, right? Hey, her
It
name's
really makes,
Kyle too.
yeah, it is an odd name. I've never met a female Kyle, but he was a pretty good character and stuff. And I think that scene would have worked without her discovering that doll. She should have just gone
Yeah.
back to the garbage and been like, "Holy shit, he's gone."
So, Chucky does make himself known to Andy. So Andy knows that Chucky's there again. And Chucky starts doing his shenanigans like Brandon was talking about, how he starts getting him in trouble for stuff for breaking things, and then he starts framing him for murders because he starts just doing straight up murders and framing Andy for it again. He's getting blamed for it again, and he kills a bunch of the people that he kills are like he kills the placement lady first because he needs to find out where Andy is first, right?
And that
Um,
lady, funny enough, is in Seinfeld. She's George Costanza's fiance, Susan, her mom.
oh,
That's the
really?
same
I
person,
don't
right?
even
Yeah,
remember the actress. Yeah.
yeah, pretty sure
That's
that's
funny.
her.
Well, he kills her with a plastic bag. He puts a plastic bag over her head. So,
And that's one issue I kind of have with this
yeah,
movie, and it comes back to the whole problem I have with the setup
yeah,
is that they're going back to that no one believes Andy again.
Yeah.
but it's like how much like, how many murders could an 8 year old commit before you're like, really,
Yeah.
this like tiny 8 year old murdered like a full grown man? And the part where the Kyle, the foster sister, kind of like comes in through the window right as Chucky has Andy tied to the bed. He's trying to
Yeah.
transfer his soul into him. So of course Chucky goes dormant, pretends he's a doll, and she finds Andy like tied to the bed. Like, how would he tie
Yeah.
himself to the bed? She even brings it up. How did you tie yourself to the bed like that? And Andy's like, no, it's the doll. And of course,
Yeah.
absolutely no one believes him.
Yeah.
And this over and over, they have this scene, and it's like no, and it's like sooner or later they'd have to be like something's up.
Yeah.
And even the teenage girl finally realizes it's true, but the parents just don't realize it. And the only time they do is like 5 seconds before Chucky kills them when they see him, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, it's real!" And then they die. It is just a little bit cheap. I think they could have been smarter with it.
The foster placement lady with the plastic bag, didn't she have her hands free? Because you know what I'd do if a doll put a plastic bag over my head? I'd do this.
Yeah, just pop the yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of it, and I get it that even someone with murderous intent that was angry at you, even if they're
Yeah.
a foot and a half tall,
Yeah.
they could be hard to deal with because even like
Yeah.
an angry cat is hard to control.
Well, yeah.
But still, if you're a grown man, Chucky would not be that big of a threat unless he came up to you and you didn't see him. But
Yeah.
if you were in a just a full on struggle with him,
Yeah.
there's no way that you could
Oh,
not just
yeah.
grab him and pin him down, rip his head off.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't be. And even if he had a knife and was like cutting at you, you could just
Yeah.
hold him by the neck, grab his hand with like he's just so small, but he
Yeah.
seems to be able to overpower absolutely everyone.
It's so weird. At least the dad in this one, the foster dad, died in a way that you could kind of explain through this. Like he gets knocked down the stairs and
Yeah,
like breaks his neck. And that is something that a doll could do to a person. The shining star of this movie is where we're headed to next, and that's the final battle in the good guys' where factory. So eventually, Chucky gets Andy. He wants to take Andy to do his little ritual on him in the good guy's factory. I don't know why. I don't remember why he wanted to do it there. And then Kyle kind of tails them to try and save Andy to the warehouse.
and then she did that Indiana Jones roll underneath the garage door that was closing, so she could get in
Yeah.
there.
In 1990, when these types of things didn't exist really yet, this place is almost entirely automated. This place. There's like one guy working in the factory, and he's just manning the machines. He's like making sure that everything stays working properly. So it's the perfect place to do a voodoo ritual if you don't want to be interrupted by people, because there's like one guy, and he gets got, by the way.
And I have to say that this is the most unsafe workplace
Yeah.
ever. Like there's just death traps everywhere. There's
Yeah.
just like moving pieces. There's just like boiling plastic spilling. There's so many ways that you could be injured just walking around this place.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why nobody works at the place is because it's like a death trap dungeon, right? But the final battle is super, super well done. It's another one of those ones that has a bunch of false ends, like a wrestling match, like, 1, 2, and then, no, he's back up. He's doing something else. But at one point in time, he is half melted and he jumps back out at them. And it looks so damn good. It really does stand up to today's FX too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, this whole end scene was. It could also be the reason they're there. They just need kind of like in part three. The
Hmm.
whole end climax takes place in a place that they really. It's like why did it have to be there? Because it
Yeah.
looks cool. That's the reason. It just looks really cool. Um, yeah, they do the false starts. There's another death in there where Chucky kills like the guy that comes out to fix the machines, and
Yeah.
there's just a lot of like moving conveyor belts and other things, and then yeah, they do the. You think Chucky's dead and he's not. He comes back, and then finally he gets killed by Andy dumping a bunch of it was like hot wax or hot plastic, some sort of hot substance on him and
Yeah.
melting the rest of them.
And he's kind of half biological, half doll, and it looks really goopy and gross. And I don't know who did the effects in this one, but it really um, kind of felt like a Screaming Mad George effect. But I almost 100% it wasn't him. Because otherwise everything else would have been goopy too, right? It would have been all bugs and gross and goop and stuff, and this was the only part with that sort of thing in it. So what did you think of this one overall?
I'd overall I'd say like 7.5, maybe even better. Like I think it's just behind the first one. There are elements of it that are better. Like if
Mhm.
they just changed a couple things, but I think they're very very close. But I think when I was younger, I liked part two better. But now as I've matured as a filmmaker and stuff, I kind of like the first one better.
Okay.
But they're both very very good. This one
Yeah.
just had a bigger budget. They could do more stuff, and this one they kind of got into it quicker because they didn't need as much setup to show him becoming Chucky
Right.
because they did it in the first one, so you can get into the story quicker.
Mhm.
So overall, like it's very good movie. What would you give it?
I give this one an 8 out of 10. It's my favorite one to this point. There are ones that I still haven't seen. Spoiler alert for you guys. So the next time we do recording of some episodes, I'll be first time viewer of several of these ones, like Cult of Chucky and stuff I've never seen. And I've not seen the remake either. So I guess we'll see if I like those ones better. But so far, right now, Child's Play 2 is my favorite in the series. I really like it, think it's great, love the effects. Brad Dourif, still fantastic. Andy was a little bit less of a baby in this one, but he was still a baby. Do we know what happened with Kyle after this one? Do they ever mention her again?
And they didn't in part three. I'm pretty sure they don't.
So maybe she's in the mental hospital too. Maybe it's one of those things like Friday the 13th, where all the final girls are probably going into a mental hospital somewhere, where it's just the victims of Jason Voorhees all living together, just the victims of Chucky, everybody who thinks this doll is real, until I guess he makes his big reveal that he's real in the world. I think they do that in the later ones. Uh, well, he's walking around with kids and all that stuff. Um, maybe there's a mental hospital there somewhere with all Chucky victims in it. Who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe
Yeah,
maybe they'll make a sequel of that or a spinoff.
yeah. It'll just be those guys, and one of them dresses like Chucky.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back next time to talk about Child's Play 3. So thanks, Ben, for being on the show. Thanks for
Hmm.
watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm back for another movie review with my guest, Ben Metcalf from 3 Minute Horror Reviews. We're continuing our discussion of the Child's Play series. We're on to Child's Play 3 right now. So let's not wait a moment further. Ben, what do you think of Child's Play 3?
So, Child's Play 3 is a weird one. It's kind of a departure from everything else so far because this one takes place mainly at a military academy, like a reform school almost, military reform school. This one came out in 1991. It was directed by another new director, a guy named Jack Bender, who may have directed a bunch of things. I have no idea. I didn't look into him for whatever reason. It's the same kid still playing Andy, same Brad Dourif still playing Chucky, and Don Mancini is still the writer of this series. So he's still maintaining his creative control. And like we mentioned in the first episode, he's going to be the writer throughout most of the entire series. I don't know if he did the remake. We'll figure that out as we go. But so his creative vision is being maintained, although this one is a little bit stranger. It takes place 8 years later. Um, you know what now? Can I be right about the same kid playing Andy if this is supposed to be 8 years later? But I mean, we're talking about 1 year difference between the movies, so I don't think it can be the same actor, possibly. Child's Play 2 came out in 1990. This one came out
Oh,
in
yeah. No, it can.
1991.
Yeah.
I gotta be
I guess.
wrong
Now that you
in
think.
this case. So everybody come and roast me. I was wrong in the last
Yeah.
episode. Go back to the last
Story wise,
episode,
it makes sense, actually.
leave a comment and say that you're a dumbass because you got it wrong, Ben, because I did. So there you go. Andy's in military school in this one. Military school looks like it sucks big time. I would not want to go to military school, that's for sure. And he's got a crappy lieutenant colonel who's like a bully, and there's the general guy there, the commandant, I guess. And then you got a nerd kid. I mean, you got your roster of kids from movies of this era. You got a cool girl, you got a nerd, you got a bully, and you got a little kid. And that kid looks like he's like what, 6 years old? Are you allowed to send a kid to military school when they're 6 years old? Seems a bit crazy, don't you think?
Yeah, I have some questions about how this place operates.
Exactly. So what do you think of this military school?
The military school sucks. The movie is okay. I remember when I originally saw it, I really didn't like it because
Yeah.
out of the first three, it's the weird one. It is kind of a departure, like you said. Watching it now, it's actually like it's pretty good. Like it's entertainment. It's
Yeah.
entertaining. It's just compared to the first two, something's a bit off.
Hmm.
But it's a decent story. I guess we've already seen Andy as a kid living at home with his mom. We've seen him in a foster home. Now he's 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
He's wouldn't really be living on his own, and we don't want to do the foster home again. So this is a good choice. It's like here's a new place. It's a fresh. I have no problem with the setting. It's kind of cool. It's something new, and there's a bunch of other people around as possible victims and stuff. My main issues were I hate the whole bully storyline. I think
Yeah.
they still do this to this day, but during that era, 80s, 90s, every movie with a kid child star in it is always bullies. Like,
Yeah.
and that, I swear, half the movie is just that jerk of his, the lieutenant, whoever that guy is,
Yeah.
picking on him. And, and it's just like over and over again. And it's basically taking away from possible Chucky time. I wish they just gotten rid of all of that, and then they have the whole yelling at him, telling them to do push-ups, and
Yeah.
just like, come on, guys, we've seen this before. Um, there were some cool parts, and then they kind of went in a weird direction that the young boy, the 6-year-old that Ben was talking about,
Yeah.
he's the one that discovers the Chucky doll, and then Chucky realizes like, hey, if I since I'm a new doll,
Yeah.
I can reveal myself that I'm actually Charles Lee Ray to this new kid, and then
Yeah.
transfer my soul into him. I don't actually need Andy anymore.
Right.
So now all of a sudden there's like a new kid involved, but then Chucky's still trying to kill Andy anyway. Um,
Just
and
for
it's
giggles.
it's kind of a the plot. It's kind of a more convoluted plot than it was in the last two.
Yeah. But before any of that can happen, we saw that Chucky got melted and destroyed completely in the last one. So he's going to need to be rebuilt first. So the way they managed to do it this time is that a couple of drops of blood from the Brad Dourif Chucky doll gets into a plastic vat that's making the new dolls that the new dolls are being built out of. And so the first one that comes out is the new Chucky. It's the new doll that has Charles Lee Ray in it. I don't know how that works because that plastic vat is making a bunch of dolls. So I would have
Yeah,
thought that he'd be a bunch of Chuckies, right?
yeah, I didn't get that either. It's like, yeah, would that mean that all the dolls made out of that plastic are possessed, or just
Yeah.
the one? I'm assuming just the one. But then they showed Chucky, like they showed him and like kind of being reformed,
Yeah.
almost kind of like in Nightmare on Elm Street 4, where you see Freddy kind of just like making and putting himself together. Like you
Yeah.
see his face growing. But I didn't get that. Was that, are they saying that, like, is that them making the doll, or is that the doll like re-manifesting himself? I
No, they
didn't.
were making it, which
They were
is
making.
weird because they end up taking that prototype that has him, that has his soul in it, and giving it as a commemorative special edition to the CEO of the company, which is how he gets loose. But I don't understand. First of all, another question that I have is the blood that drops into the vat. This is 8 years later. So what has that he just been bleeding there for 8 years, or where'd that blood come from? Or has it just been sitting in unmelted plastic? I don't get it.
Yeah, they could. I mean, I get it that the after 8 years, the company that makes the dolls
Yeah,
decided like, hey, we're gonna start up production again.
yeah,
But the thing is, they owned this factory the entire time, and they didn't even bother cleaning up after everything that happened. Like,
yeah,
wouldn't they go and sweep up and try to rent the place or sell it? Like, it just seems like they kind of forgot all that. And yeah, wouldn't that blood be long dried by then? Like, it's still
exactly.
running enough to drip when they pick up the half melted Chucky. There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
I just didn't buy it that it's like, yeah, they're probably making this doll, but when they show them, like, is I don't know how process of molding
Mm.
the plastic into a doll works,
Yeah.
but it probably involves putting it into some sort of the
Like a
word I'm thinking,
mold?
like a mold, yeah,
Yeah.
putting it into a mold of some kind. But here it just showed Chucky, and just looked like his face was like reforming itself.
Yeah.
And I
Almost
get
like
it that it
the
looked
way
cool.
3D printers kind of work now.
Yeah, I was just like, what is it? Is he like making himself, or it just looks so weird? I
So
get it that
weird.
it's scary and cool, but
Yeah.
so right off the bat, there's some questionable stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, then we kind of get back into the real story where they decide to start making the dolls again,
Yeah.
even though twice now this has ruined their company, but they
Yeah.
decide to give it another shot. So they give here's the first edition doll off the new assembly line,
Yeah.
They give it to the CEO. He takes it back to his penthouse suite where
Yeah.
Chucky killed him by spilling marbles on the floor and then hitting them with darts. Now that scene,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Don Mancini wrote it, if he was influenced by the Stephen King story in Night Shift.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a short story where the CEO of a toy company gets attacked by toys, and
okay.
all his little like army men and trucks and helicopter toys, like they all just start attacking him and killing him.
Hmm.
That happens in this one, where not only is Chucky real, but there's little robots and other toys that are kind of coming to life after him. They don't actually
Maybe they
hurt
were all
him.
made from the same plastic. Who knows, right?
Yeah, so I just thought like, oh, I wonder if they got that from Stephen King. That's a pretty cool short
Yeah,
story.
they probably did. I thought it was Home Alone that he got it from, but I hadn't seen that Stephen King short story, so.
Yeah. And then, of course, then Chucky goes to the guy's computer, which for some reason has an article on there
Yeah.
saying that Andy has been sent to this military academy. So Chucky somehow wraps himself up in the doll, like, and puts an address on it and mails himself to this military academy. I
Maybe you
don't
got
know if that,
the little plastic soldiers to do
yeah, maybe I
it.
don't see how you can do that, but so he winds up there, and of course, Andy, who's been free of Chucky for 8 years but still
Yeah.
traumatized, all of a sudden realizes, oh shit, Chucky found me.
Yeah. And like Brandon said, this little kid that's there for whatever reason, I don't know why he's so little and why he's at military school. He is the person who accidentally opens the package that the good guy doll is in, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's a good guy doll. I'm gonna snake this thing." So it was addressed to Andy. This kid snakes it. It's his now. And Charles Lee Ray reveals himself to this kid. So now this kid is the first person that he's revealed himself to. So now he's the new target, like Brandon said. He said he decides this kid's body will do. That's what I put in my notes. This'll do. There are lots of wacky misadventures with Chucky. Chucky has does some crazy things, like compacting the garbage man, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor
There's some
guy.
cool gaps in this one.
Yeah, he just he just came to work that day. He didn't do anything wrong, right?
I think Chucky doesn't necessarily need a motive. He is just
Yeah,
kind of like he has his main target, but if you're just in his way, he'll just kill you just for the thrill of it. There's the guy who gives the haircuts to the army, the military
yeah,
recruits, and for some reason he's obsessed with cutting hair. So when he finds a Chucky doll, he puts him in the barber chair and is going to shave his hair until Chucky slits his throat with a barber shaving knife.
Did
Shaving
you
knife.
recognize that actor?
No, who is it?
That was Scorpio from Dirty Harry. That was the bad guy in Dirty Harry.
Really?
Yeah,
And that was also the you're wearing the Hellraiser shirt. He was the main guy in the first Hellraiser.
yeah. He was the what's her face's dad. He was the Uncle Frank took his body at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weird. He looks so different in this.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because it's like 25 years later, right? Because
Yeah, I guess.
Dirty Harry, I think, was in the early 70s.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, I didn't even
Yeah.
recognize him.
Yep. He's got crazy eyes. That's why I always see him as a bad guy.
Yeah. So things progress, and of course, no one believes Andy
Yeah.
again. That Chucky's real. Yeah, even Andy's nerdy roommate, even he sees Chucky, but he refuses to say anything. He's just too traumatized to say anything.
Yeah.
So then the military academy, they're putting on this exercise where they divide into two groups, the red and the
Yeah.
blue, and they go out to play basically a game of war games using like paintballs.
Yeah.
Chucky goes into the armory and replaces all the paintballs with actual live ammunition. So when they go out to play, I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be a bloodbath, them shooting each other, but really
It's
only one
only,
guy gets
but he
shot.
only replaced it for the one team. He
Yeah,
replaced the red team's ammo with bullets and not the blue team because the blue team has all of his enemies on it, like Andy and all those guys. So just the red team got bullets, and that's wild because they're just out there killing kids, man.
the thing is, no one actually shot each other except the one bully
Yeah,
lieutenant guy. He's the only one that gets shot. So they kind of had this big setup, and I was expecting something cool to happen, and then
they
they just
probably
kind
got
of,
talked to by the studio saying, "Hey, wait a minute, you can't be killing like 15 kids on screen here. That's not
yeah.
cool." And then
So
the
yeah,
nerd kid jumps on a grenade too, which is wild.
Yeah, somehow Chuck got his hands on a grenade, threw it at Andy, and then the nerd kid who'd been denying having seen Chucky
Yeah.
redeems himself by throwing his body over the grenade and sacrificing himself.
The War Games, I wrote down that it was a huge shit show, because it was. And Andy does save the little Tyler kid from Chucky.
But
Yeah.
it was just a contrived reason to
Yeah.
get them to the amusement park.
Yeah.
So the
The
little
little
boy, the big
kid,
little boy,
Andy, and the cool girl all got there.
yeah, the little boy ran off first,
Yeah.
and because he's like, "Oh, Chucky's after me." He found a security guard. He's like, "Someone's trying to kill me." Of course,
Yeah.
the security guy is like, "No, no one's trying to kill you." By the way, look what I have here. And he pulls out Chucky. He's like, "Here's a doll for you." And the kid's like, "Oh no." So Chucky takes the boy hostage,
Yeah.
with like a knife or gun or whatever, and then that's when Andy and the cool girl
Yeah.
come running down there looking for the boy. They track him down and they go into some amusement park ride, some little roller coaster thing that's a horror themed. And then there's a actually a pretty well done, even though it's like I think it's come to the point where people even spoof the fact that so many horror movies ended in an amusement park
Yeah.
during this era. It was like a staple. This might have been one of the earlier ones. I don't know, or maybe one of the later ones, um, but it is pretty well done with Chucky trying to basically hunt down the 6-year-old boy so he can transfer his soul into it, and then Andy and the girl trying to find Chucky
Yeah.
and all these horror things around, and then there's a big grim reaper with a scythe that goes back and forth, and then Chucky gets in the way and it cuts his face off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff here, and of course there's like people riding the roller coaster around the room. It's a pretty fun scene.
You can't beat a spooky amusement park for a horror movie, or at least at that point. You probably could. I mean, you could probably still get away with it now because it's not done as often. But yeah, a Funhouse. Ever since that Toby Hooper movie, Funhouse came out, you can't go wrong with a creepy Funhouse. It's good stuff.
Yeah, even if it is a bit overdone, even like Lost Boys was even at some kind of a amusement park thing for a big chunk.
Yeah,
Just like it is kind of a. I get it that it's just a cool set, right? If
yeah,
it's already been built, you could just go in there and there's a lot of lights and exciting, cool stuff going on. So I can see why it's a good location, but
yeah,
it's just kind of been done a lot. But for this movie, it was fairly well executed, I think.
yeah. And there was another definitive Chucky kill at the end of this one. I don't know if they planned on making a fourth one after this one because they really killed him up good at the end of this one again. He basically gets pushed into a metal fan and he gets confettied, you know?
This is another instance like they did in part two of just complete unsafe work area.
Yeah.
They just people. Not only is there like people riding these rides, but there's
Yeah.
also like people that work there, and they just have this massive open fan that anyone could fall into or step on. But
Which is wild, yeah.
but regardless of that, yeah, Chucky gets shot and falls into this fan, and he's completely ripped apart.
Now, I don't remember whether or not I've seen four, but I will be watching four for the next record. So I guess we'll see how he gets brought back for number four because I don't remember myself. So I guess,
I've seen it a bunch of times. I can't remember how he gets put back together. I just know now he's all stitched together, and it's because he got ripped up in
oh,
his fan. So
oh,
that's what it
okay.
is. And he's all in pieces now with his face stitched together, and that's how he looks, at least for the next two movies. So
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I never even knew that. So there you go. So what do you give this one overall?
I I think probably if you asked me like 20 years ago, I would have given it a 5. Now I'd
Yeah.
probably go 6,
Yeah.
6. I guess. Yeah,
I ended up giving this one a seven.
yeah,
I thought it was still good. Maybe a lower seven. I don't know. We can't really
yeah,
do that, but a lower seven than the first movie because the first movie was a seven as well, but it was a lot better of a seven, if that's a thing.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, it had good bits and bad bits. The military academy, I didn't like. I liked it. I mean, the war games were cool. The war games as a setting, and the fact that they put live bullets in the guns was wild. I was kind of shocked when that happened. Although nobody ended up really getting killed except for the one guy. But it was still like a wild thing to consider as it was happening before the shit actually went down. But I liked. Some of the guest characters, I didn't think that we needed another bully, like as you mentioned. But yeah, it was good. Wasn't my favorite, but it was good.
It's definitely entertaining. Like I think out
Yeah.
of the first, if you watch the first three in a row, you'd be like, yeah, this is the weaker one, but it's still where it's not like a skip one where you like watch
Yeah.
the series and this one's so bad it's unwatchable. Like no, it's actually it's pretty damn fun to watch.
Yeah. It's not like Friday the 13th 4 or something like that, right? Or no, that one was good. Which one did I hate? I don't remember. It was so long
Jason
ago.
Goes to Hell.
Yeah, it's not definitely no Jason Goes to Hell or Halloween Resurrection. Oh boy. Yeah, those ones were
Yeah. Oh
pretty
yeah.
bad.
Compared to like shitty Holly or shitty horror sequels, this
Yeah.
one is not one. It's weaker, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I even read on Wikipedia they said that the movie was hated by fans and critics like when it came out,
Mhm.
but it said over the years it's kind of had a new reappreciation where people are starting to realize like, hey, kind of like Halloween 3, where
Yeah.
everyone hated it at first until give it some time to think about it, and then you realize like actually it's a lot better than we thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, having the benefit of continuing on this story with new entries and with that television series to add to the lore and everything, I mean, they've probably found ways to make reference to it, to make it make sense and garner more appreciation for it over the years
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah. So it's
Mhm.
definitely worth watching. Check it out if you haven't already.
Yes. Don't let us poo-pooing on it sour you on watching this movie because it was still good.
All right, well that's it for this one. We'll be back next time with Bride of Chucky. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Brandon, and we're back for another movie review with Ben Metcalf. We're continuing our coverage of the Chucky series, and Ben is from 3 Minute Horror Reviews, so be sure to subscribe to his channel if you haven't already, and subscribe to mine if you want. So we've done three Child's Play movies, and now we've abandoned the title Child's Play and moved into just zeroing in on the Chucky name, and we're with doing the fourth movie, which is Bride of Chucky. And well, I'll let you start. Well, what do you think of this one?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about this movie. I never realized how good of an actress Jennifer Tilly is. Jennifer Tilly is fantastic in every subsequent movie that she's in this series. She is wonderful, and she's really good in this one. Another thing that really struck me back when I started watching this film is that I realized that it came out in 1998. It's nearly 30 years ago at this point, and the song Living Dead Girl came on as the opening track of the song as the credits played. And I thought to myself, oh my God, how old am I? I can't believe that this song was out nearly 30 years ago. That he hasn't been with White Zombie in almost 30 years. That's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, this seems like a 2000s movie. Like in my mind, I would guess like 2004. It seemed like it came out much later than it is. I don't know if it was ahead of its time, but it doesn't seem like a 1998 movie. It seems like it's got to be more recent than that. But
Yeah.
no, no, it's older than you think.
And the animatronics that they use consistently in these things really uh, are ahead of their time, I think. I mean, the dolls look fantastic, in especially in this one, in all of them, but especially in this one. It's kind of mind-blowing what they've done. Really good movie. I don't want to spoil my review of this, but I'm going to say it right off the bat. I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah, I love this one. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is really good. It's definitely a departure from the first three. They've basically given up it being like a suspense horror movie,
Yeah,
and they go full on like slasher comedy. I guess you call it horror comedy, but it's not scary. They don't try to make it scary. It's just a slasher movie that's really fun. The dolls are awesome, like Chucky and Tiffany. It does follow that trend I brought up before, where it seems like any series they get to a certain point where it's like we've done enough we can with just the main character. We have to start adding to them. They did it with Indiana Jones. They started adding, he's got his dad with him, he's got his son with him, that kind of thing. They did the same thing with Die Hard. As soon as in Die Hard with a Vengeance, he's got some other friend he's working with, and then it's he's got some young guy he's working with, some young
yeah,
wisecracking young guy. So it just seems like that's the natural way they start adding other characters. And usually, a lot of time, I don't like it so much. But Tiffany's a great character. Like it was
yeah.
perfect. Like Jennifer Tilly, perfectly cast. it was the perfect doll or person, however you look at it, to play opposite to him. And the movie was just a hell of a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And when you factor into it too, that the series has had the same writer throughout the entire thing, a lot of times those departures where you start to get into diehards and you start adding characters, there's not one consistent writer from one movie to the next. So that character might get thrown by the wayside and you never hear from them again. But these characters, once they're added, and you'll see as we go through the rest of the series, these characters are going to come back over and over and over again. Even people who you'd never think about are coming
Yeah,
back. Spoilers.
yeah, I like the fact that they did try to keep like one like cohesive storyline through the whole
Yeah,
series. Whereas, say, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, they kind of just, hey, let's do this. And okay, forget about that. We're going to go in the other direction. And then there's movies that have nothing to do with the other movies and other ones that totally reverse things that were done in the previous one. This one, there is like a coherent storyline,
yeah,
which is funny that the movie about a possessed doll is the one that makes the most sense, but it kind of
yeah,
does.
for sure. And the cast of this movie is nuts. I mean, we got Katherine Heigl when she was like a teenager. We got John Ritter in this one. We got Alexis Arquette, and I'm gonna say it right now because I always say it and it's always a problem. Like it's a one of my hot takes is that I believe that Alexis Arquette is the most talented Arquette in the Arquette family. Rest in peace, Alexis.
Yeah,
But this was pre-transition Alexis, and God, she is just such a talented actor. I've seen her in things. Um, Going back to the 90s. Like there's an Australian movie that Alexis is in. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I should have written it down, but just fantastic performance. Alexis is great.
so
Yeah.
you want to get into the storyline of this one?
Sure. Do you want me to start off with it?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, Jennifer Tilly, um, not as Jennifer Tilly at this point, but Tiffany, character named Tiffany Valentine. Um, there's a dirty cop who's trying to transport the Chucky doll to a secret buyer. And the secret buyer is Tiffany Valentine, the previous girlfriend or the former girlfriend of Charles Lee Ray before his passing. And she catches this guy, she slits his throat, and she takes the doll. And haha, sucker, I killed the dirty cop. And it makes a really good point of showing us her picking up his lighter because you know that that means it's going to come up again later because otherwise they wouldn't be showing us, right? Always does, always happens. Jennifer Tilly repairs the doll because she knows that this doll is Chucky the killer doll, that Charles Lee Ray's in this doll. She tries to do the Damballa voodoo thingamajig, the Damballa spell. They're spells, right? Voodoo spells? I don't know. Voodoo chant.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
But she does the voodoo chant. This is when the doll gets all stitched up, like Brandon was talking about in the last episode. This is when he starts to look crazy, and he'll look this way for the next movie. One more, not even then. Never mind. I'm being dumb.
The next one and a half movie.
One and a half movies. Yeah. So he looks all stitched up in this one. It's because she's stitching him up. She does the ritual. It doesn't look like he came back. And then Alexis Arquette, who is a kid named Damien, who is obsessed with Tiffany, comes over. And he is a super ridiculous mall goth, hot topic guy who wants to be a serial killer real bad. And it didn't look like the ritual worked, but then all of a sudden Tiffany notices that Chucky is missing. The Chucky doll is now missing from the circle where he was. So she knows that something's happened. She knows that something's worked. She decides that she's going to give in and finally give Damien what he wants, which is her bod. And she does she secures him to the bed. She fastens him to the bed and throws Chucky on his chest. And that's when Chucky decides to come back to life and kill this guy. Except he doesn't really kill the guy. It's her. She smothers him. Oh no, Chucky smothers him.
Yeah.
Yeah, with his butt. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great way to introduce the Tiffany character. And one thing you got to mention too is when we see the police evidence locker where the Chucky doll or the remnants of them are, we get to see Jason Mask and a Freddy glove and some,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I
it was a Michael
forgot.
Myers. They did some nods to horror to prove that, hey, we haven't totally given up on horror.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of cool. It was yeah, it was a great way to introduce Chucky. They obviously did the fake out where like, hey, it seems like the ritual didn't work. When we know damn right well, obviously it does because Chucky's in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jennifer Tilly's a great character in this, and she's kind of funny because she does have like she is a cold blooded killer, serial killer, just like Chucky,
Yeah.
but she has like a nice side. And we'll see in the next one, she's kind of the one that has like second thoughts about it. Like, I don't think we should be killing anyone. She wants more of just a regular relationship, whereas Chucky's
Yeah.
like an unrepentant killer. But obviously, she's still horrible. She still murders like a whole bunch of people for that. Maybe in the movie world they're kind of douchebaggy, so they deserve it a little bit. But obviously, you can't go around just killing dozens of people for virtually no reason. But it does make her a good character, right? She kind of has like the Mildred thing to it, right? Where
Yeah.
she's horrible, but she's not all horrible. She's got the cute side to her personality.
She's got the maternal side. She wants to be a
Yeah,
homemaker. She's been watching Martha Stewart the whole time that Charles Lee Ray has been in a doll, just preparing
yeah,
for
exactly.
this. And the reason why is because she found a wedding ring in his effects after he passed, and she figured that he was going to ask her to marry her, or ask her to marry him rather. And but no, it turns out that no, that thing is just worth a lot of money, and he wanted to sell it. So she's not too pleased. She brought this fucking guy back from the dead to marry her. I don't know how she was gonna get him out of the doll, but I guess we'll figure that out later. Um, but he didn't want to marry her at all. So she throws him in a playpen, and she locks that playpen, and she kind of tortures him a little bit, like she like pokes him with stuff, and you know, it doesn't treat him right. But I mean, he's Charles Lee Ray. He's a shitty guy anyway, right? He's not a great guy. Yeah, but meanwhile, while all this is happening, we're introduced to Katherine Heigl, who is the teenage girl character of this story, and her name is Jade, I believe. Yes, her name is Jade, and she wants to see her boyfriend Jesse, and Jesse is not approved. She's being raised by her uncle, who is the chief of police, and he is played by John Ritter. This is shortly before John Ritter's death. Um,
Yeah, like
but
right before.
sorry,
Oh no, I guess maybe a few years. Yeah, I think didn't he die in 2003? I think so. It would have been like
something like
5 years.
that. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was in he was in some other stuff after this before he passed. He was in Bad Santa. I think the last movie he was in was Bad Santa before he passed. But so he's not accepting of her boyfriend Jesse, and so this kid comes to the door. It's prom night to pick her up. He's a little blonde guy. He seems nice enough, but he keeps dropping hints at the uncle, at Uncle John Ritter, that he's gay. And I think that's supposed to be like a late '90s joke. This whole thing, like they kind of made him a punchline. That's fine. Um, and as soon as they leave to go to the prom, naturally, boyfriend Jesse is in the back seat. This guy was a cover. He's a smokescreen. He is a gay. He is gay, and he's not interested in her at all. But he's doing the cover thing. But John Ritter calls his buddy, who's a cop, to go and pull them over a little bit up the road so he can bust them. Oh man, what a jerk, right?
what happens after is Chucky's mad that his girlfriend locked him in a cage, so he breaks out of the cage, throws a TV in her bath, basically kills her, but before doing so, transfers her soul into a doll. So now we
Yeah.
have two dolls: we have the Chucky doll and the Tiffany doll, and the teenage characters that we met. They're planning to run away together because their uncle is really coming down on them hard and doesn't want them to be together. So they're going to drive across the country, and they end up it's like, hey, Tiffany calls this guy and is like, hey, we'll give you $500 if you could drive these two dolls to this specific location. So they do that. So we got a
Yeah,
cross country teen love romance along with them taking the Chucky dolls. And here we add an element that they've never mentioned before, but now it turns out that there's a special amulet that Charles Lee Ray was
yeah,
buried with, and he needs that amulet. They need that in order to get his soul out of his body. Apparently, that's why it didn't work before or something. So I think it was basically made as like a MacGuffin type thing, just for a reason for them to have to drive on this long road trip.
for sure. And it just so happens too that this Jesse kid who is the boyfriend of Jade, who wants to run away with her, just happens to be the neighbor of Tiffany. So all this is going on, and Tiffany's able to call him to arrange this driving the two dolls. Now that she's stuck in dolls, on the phone. She calls him on the phone, and her voice hasn't changed or anything like that, so it sounds perfectly natural to him. Now, Jade and Jesse are going to transport these two dolls to Jersey, to a graveyard. Nobody's asking any questions about why two dolls, one particularly ugly and stitched up, are going to the graveyard. That's fine though, because these kids need money to get married. And it also just so happens to be a convenient pair of bodies for these two to inhabit when they get that amulet too, right? Because that's the plan. So these guys get into all sorts of adventures when they're on their way. They stop at a club thing, or they stop at what was it? They stop to get groceries. They stop to get groceries at this place, and it just so happens that a cop, that cop who works for John Ritter, catches them at this place. As they're dealing with him, Jade is inside the grocery store place, and Jesse's outside dealing with this cop. He goes back to his car, and Chucky and Tiffany have put a flaming rag inside this guy's gas tank, and they friggin' explode him. Like he blows up. This guy explodes everywhere. And as they're running away, they drop the magic lighter. Or Chucky had the lighter, the magic lighter that came from the dirty cop. So now, Jade and Jesse, since dolls can't kill people, are now being blamed for the deaths of not only this cop, but the previous dirty cop as well.
And they get blamed for a whole series of death.
Yeah.
And part of what makes the story interesting is that the police and the public, they think like, oh, it's this couple on this crime spree. It's actually really the dolls. But the thing is, the couple, they really didn't do it. We know they didn't do it. It was Chucky and Tiffany. But the couple, they start suspecting each other
Yeah.
because they each know like, hey, I didn't do this murder, but it does seem weird that everywhere we stop, someone gets killed. So they start thinking that the other one did it. And then later, the gay friend comes back
Yeah.
to kind of help them out, and he starts suspecting because he finds John Ritter's body in their van.
Oh yeah.
That
Chucky killed John Ritter too. We forgot to mention that.
so, so then the gay friend starts suspecting them. So of course, no one thinks it's the doll. So it's a little bit of like a farce going on, but there is some cool death scenes.
Yeah.
John Ritter gets a bunch of nails to the face. Like it is. They go for the comedy angle in this one, but they still have some pretty violent deaths.
There's one that I didn't really like, and that was the one after they blow up this cop, or after Chucky and Tiffany blow up this cop, not the other two, and Jade and Jesse are on the run. They stop at like a honeymoon suite kind of motel, and this is, I believe, after they get married in like a quickie ceremony. So they get married in a quickie ceremony. They go to this. Love motel. This in the honeymoon suite, and these freaky pair of swingers join them, and they're not really swingers. They're more like con artists. So they steal all of their money, and then they go back to their freaky heart-shaped waterbed room, and then Chucky goes in there and smashes. So they have a big
Tiffany.
mirror above.
Tiffany goes in there.
Sorry, it was Tiffany that time.
It's Tiffany. It's Tiffany. Yeah.
I couldn't keep track of all these dolls here. Did I even write it was Tiffany that did it? I don't know. Yeah. So Tiffany goes in and does it. She breaks the glass that's above them in the mirror, and it would have been a really cool death if they could find a way to do it practically, but the CGI that they did looked kind of shitty. And
Yeah.
that seems to be a theme a couple of movies from now. There's a very similar death, and I'm talking about in Cult of Chucky that we'll get to a little bit later. But there's this very similar death, and they did very similar CGI, and it looked very similarly crappy. And this is years later. So, unfortunately, that seems to be a kill that they can't pull off practically, and they've tried to do it twice. So I didn't really like that part that much.
And I found that scene weird, and it reminded me of something you brought up in our Hostel review, where you said like, oh, they have a room, and all of a sudden there's like other people, strange people coming into their room.
Yeah.
So it's like this married couple, freshly married couple, is in their hotel room, and then this other couple barges in from the room next door. And
Yeah.
things like, I've never been married, But I
Yeah.
have to imagine, I can't imagine that, hey, you're in your honeymoon suite and there's just strangers coming and going from various doors. Like what?
I
it didn't really make
it
sense. It was
it's
just
not
like a
something that
ploy to
usually
have
happens. It's
it
not
happen.
something that usually happens, but I'll tell you one time, my wife and I went on a vacation to Jamaica, and we went to a resort, and the room that they gave us, because we got there a little bit later at night because there were some delays with the plane and all that business, the room that they gave us had people in it. So we went and
Yeah.
we
Okay.
opened the door with the key, and there were people in that room. So it does happen sometimes.
Okay.
We
I
kind of
guess it's
barged
happened
in there.
twice. Once with you and once with Bride of Chucky. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
exactly.
that whole scene was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, the couple's in there acting, and it just I was like, hey, this is kind of not believable. Like if people came in, you'd be like, get the fuck out of my room, and then
Exactly.
they like, oh, they steal his wallet, and then Tiffany's like, oh, they're thieves, and then she goes to kill them. There
Yeah.
is a pretty big screw up here, is
Okay.
that it's happening at night. And
Yeah.
after the death of this couple, that's when our main couple, the two young people, start to suspect one another of doing this.
Yeah.
So they both call their gay friend to be like, "Oh my god, the other person here, my new wife or my new husband, is a crazy killer."
Yeah.
And this all happens at night. We see it at night. It's at night. They even wake their gay friend up. He's sleeping. He wakes up to talk to them, and he's like, "Okay, I'm coming out there to like help you guys."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they cut to the guy, the couple running out of the building after the bodies were discovered, and it's daytime,
Yeah.
which is either they just went from night to day instantly, or they had to wait until the sun rose, which they wouldn't do because they just found the housekeeper just found the
Yeah.
bodies. She would call the cops; they would be there in a few minutes. So I was like, okay, I was like, did I see that correctly? I had to rewind it. So I think
Did
that was just a fuck up on the filmmaking's angle of it.
Did you notice who the housekeeper was that found them?
No, who is it?
It was Peggy Hill. It was Kathy Najimy. Peggy Hill from King of the
Oh,
Hill. Hooah!
okay. I
Yeah.
did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good
That
to
was
know.
Kathy Najimy.
I'm willing to forgive those kind of things because the movie as a whole is just
Oh
great.
yeah.
So even the bad things, I can overlook them.
Yeah, I overlooked that CGI too in my rating of it. Um, as Brandon mentioned, David, the gay friend, gets into the car and he finds John Ritter's body in the truck bench or the van bench. And he grabs the gun off of that body and he holds the two up. He gets them to pull over and he gets out of the back of the van because he doesn't want to be in there with two killers. He suspects that they're both killers now, somehow. And he gets out and he walks out into the street and is immediately smoked by the biggest truck I've ever seen. It was like Gage level from Pet Cemetery smoking, getting smoked by a truck. It was huge. But it just so happens that a cop was sitting right on the other side of the road, saw him get out with a gun and get smoked by a truck. So he starts going after these two. So now they got cops after them too.
One thing to bring up about I think that was a trope that was so overused at that time. The whole character standing there and all of a sudden, boom, they just get nailed by a vehicle.
Yeah.
I remember even mentioning this, not for this movie, but right around this time, maybe early 2000s, I mentioned to a friend when it was like an episode of some TV show where that happened. And I was like, I've seen this like so many times. It seems like once a week in a
Yeah.
movie or a TV show, they do that same gag. Like it was Buffy or some popular TV show. They did that, and I started seeing that all the time. I don't know if this started it, but
I don't know. They're still doing it to this day. And they're still doing that other trope where somebody's driving along and you're getting a camera shot looking at them from the side and then they get smoked by another car that's
oh
T-boning.
yeah, yeah, that was one
Always.
that was abused.
Every time. You can
Yeah,
call it. You can say they're about to get hit and then bam, it happens.
yeah. As soon as you see that angle, it's like next intersection, they're getting people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to pick this movie apart too much
Yeah.
because yeah, there were those little things there that I'll bring up just because we're discussing it and we're
Yeah.
reviewing it. But the movie, it was just so cool. Like it was like fresh. Like Child's Play 3 wasn't terrible, but if they kept doing those, I don't think
Yeah.
the series would have. They breathed new life into it with Bride of Chucky. All of a sudden, there's like, wow, this is cool. This is fun. Um, Tiffany's a great sidekick character.
Hmm.
Um, and they skip to the end. They eventually get to the cemetery where they're trying to dig up Charles Lee Ray's body to get this amulet.
Yeah.
And they fight. Tiffany and Chucky are defeated. A cop shows up, and after all things are settled, the cop notices that Tiffany's been burned. She's like a hideous black mess now. She's been burned, but she starts writhing in pain, and she ends up giving birth to
Oh, we forgot to mention the
what you
puppet
could.
sex scene.
Oh, okay.
The
Jump
doll
back a
sex
bit.
scene. Right after they killed the freaks with the waterbed, they had sex and it was weird.
They, I think they, it was like the precursor to the Team America World Police sex scene. They didn't quite take it that far, but it was. Yeah. So, anyways, like so, jumping to the end, we see that Tiffany has a baby,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'm misremembering it, but did they use the same baby they did from Nightmare on Elm Street 5? It looked like the same little Freddy baby.
I don't
You
know.
didn't
They
see
might
it.
have.
It just like leaped up at the cop, and I'm like, that
Yeah.
looks like the same baby, or at least
And
that's
it
how I remember it.
had little pointy teeth. Yeah, it could have
Yeah,
been. I don't know. I don't remember it that. I don't remember the Freddy one that well, but I do remember this one pretty well. So,
yeah. So it's again, Chucky's temporarily defeated, but given the fact that Tiffany has a baby at the end, they're kind of leaving the door open for what comes next.
oh, absolutely. So, what do you rate this one overall?
Part of me wants to say 7.5, but
Yeah.
like a really good 7.5, so I may as well just give it an 8.
Yeah, okay. I gave it an 8 too. I give this one an 8. I really
Yeah,
liked it. I thought it was fantastic. Thought it was funny. I thought it was fresh. It's still fresh now when you watch it. I watched it last week and it's still really, really good. It's not, it doesn't feels dated a little bit just because of the music that they used and it's because it's a real time capsule of like Power Man 5000 and all that kind of stuff, right? Like
yeah.
some,
I actually really like this. One of the things I really liked about it is
yeah.
the soundtrack. I was
Oh
like, yeah,
yeah,
it is from
it's really
that
good.
era, but I do.
Yeah. It's really good, especially if you're of that era, like we are.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
good. But it might, young kids watching it might not get a kick out of it like we did. But it's a really funny movie and it's really good. And Jennifer Tilly is fantastic. So yeah, 8 out of
yeah.
10 for me as well.
All right, so that's it for this one. We're going to be back next time to discuss Seed of Chucky, and we'll see how that one compares to Bride of Chucky.
Hmm.
And until then, we'll see everyone next time. Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm back again with Ben Metcalf from 3 Minute Horror Reviews. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. And we're continuing our Chucky slash Child's Play series. We just did Bride of Chucky. Now we're on to Seed of Chucky. So you can tell by the title that it involves some sort of
Plants.
child character. So now we're getting, not only do we have a little sidekick in Tiffany as Chucky's girlfriend, but we have a son or daughter, depending on how you look at it, which is a storyline that's explored in the movie. Now, right off the bat, I'll say I like this movie. I like it a lot,
Yeah.
but damn it, they got to stop it, or they have to stop starting movies with a fake out dream sequence. We complained
Yeah.
about that with Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie one. Now the first 20 minutes, and then it's like, oh, wake up, it never actually happened.
Yeah.
In this one, we have an extended scene of some character. It's like it might be Chucky, but it doesn't quite seem like it. But we're seeing the whole thing through this little puppet's eyes, and he's going around and attacking this family, only for him to wake up and it's not. The whole thing was just a dream, and this is a little puppet who has no idea that he's actually Tiffany and Chucky's son, but he isn't aware of that yet. So we have that, and then
And
we
they
meet,
pissed their pants too. They
and he
pissed their
pisses his
pants in.
pants.
Yeah.
And then that's immediately followed up with a scene where we see Chucky and Tiffany
Yeah.
attacking a guy dressed as Santa Claus. And there's another extended scene, only to find out that, that's not real. Someone yells cut, and it's just a movie, which we've seen that stupid trope before, too. So right off the bat, they have two back-to-back scenes that piss me off. Set aside that, the movie was pretty fun. It was pretty funny, and I did enjoy it overall. How about you?
This is my favorite one in the series.
Yeah?
This is the first one that was directed by Don Mancini, the writer, and he'll direct the next two as well. I agree that starting off with the fake out dream sequence was dumb, but I did understand what they did with the Chucky and Tiffany thing being a movie because that feeds into what happens after. This one's really, really clever. They really, I mean, they did kind of a new nightmare trope with this one. This was after New Nightmare. Yeah, it was long after New Nightmare.
Yeah.
So that trope had been established at this point. Jennifer Tilly plays a fictionalized version of herself, and she is so funny in this one too. She's even better in this one than she was in the last one, because in this one she's playing both Tiffany and herself, the fictionalized version of herself. And she's a really good sport. She's not afraid to kind of take the piss out of herself in this one. She really kind of lays into it. I think it's really great. And I love the look of, initially I wasn't sure, but I love the look of Glenn Glenda, who is, well, let's wait to get into Glenn Glenda because initially this doll is named Shitface. So Shitface kind of looks like the androgynous David Bowie era when he was Ziggy Stardust without the lightning bolt. So he's got kind of spiked, or they've got kind of spiked red hair and kind of like a David Bowie kind of gaunt face with a pointy chin and like sad eyes, sad blue eyes. And I think that they really took inspiration from that David Bowie era for the look of Shitface. And I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
can see
keep calling them Shitface until they get their name in our synopsis.
So what turns out what happened is at the graveyard at the end of the last movie, Bride of Chucky, some ventriloquist, a British ventriloquist, happened to find this baby doll, which somehow turned from a weird looking demon baby into a doll between movies. But somehow, just forget that, and he found this doll. It was Chucky and Tiffany's baby, and of course, it was a living doll. So he was like, you know what? I could go on tour as a ventriloquist because I'd be the best ventriloquist ever because this thing that looks like a dummy, a doll, can actually speak. So he takes it on tour, and of course, he abuses it, treats it like crap.
Yeah,
And this baby doll grows up not knowing who his parents are. All he knows is he has a marking on him that says "Made in Japan," so he knows that he's Japanese.
yeah,
Thinks he's Japanese. And once the word gets out, now that they're making a movie about Chucky and Tiffany, and they're advertising this movie on TV, and he sees these dolls, sees the made from Japan mark, and is like, "Oh, those are my parents."
yeah,
So he mails himself to the movie set, I think, and then
yeah. And they do
and
the little Indiana Jones, the little boop 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 boop
yeah,
boop
yeah,
boop boop. Yeah, I like
and then
that.
he goes to meet his parents, and of course they're a little bit shocked that they have this kid.
But first of all, they don't. They're animatronic. They're very fancy props. So they're not. They don't have any Charles Lee Ray or Tiffany in them yet. He has to do the ritual because he's got the Damballa amulet. So he has to do that ritual to put them into these dolls. But hey, now we've got these pristine, fancy bodies that can do all of these new things because they're very expensive Hollywood props of Chucky and Tiffany, and they look great. I think, this is the best that we ever see them look in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one had a higher budget. The following ones they they look good and they were newer,
Yeah.
they were more modern, but they just had a lower budget, so
They
the
were
animated
straight to
products.
video. The next two after this one are straight to video. So
Yeah,
this is the last theater production.
yeah, yeah. They look great. There's so much they do in this one, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just love how like Jennifer Tilly playing opposite Tiffany, and she's doing Tiffany's voice, and she'll be like giving wisecracks and
Yeah.
insulting her. Oh, she's so
Oh.
heavy, that kind of stuff. She was a total good sport about that,
Yeah.
and it was weird they had Redman, the hip hop artist, in there.
He was huge
Originally,
at the time though.
it was supposed to be Quentin Tarantino. They wrote the
Really?
script for Quentin Tarantino to be
Huh.
that role because he's a filmmaker, so it
Hmm.
kind of made more sense. But he didn't want to do it, or he couldn't do it for whatever reason, so they replaced him with Redman.
Well,
Who
that's
was
a big change, isn't
yeah,
it?
like, I don't know how they went from one to the other. Either could not be more different.
Yeah.
But he was good
Well,
enough.
they
They
could have
have
got any other filmmaker, right? Like Robert Rodriguez or somebody, or
yeah, yeah, oh,
yeah.
yeah. Why not? But they did have John Waters in there playing a sleazy paparazzi guy.
Yeah, he was funny. Um, so yeah, Shitface is there, and like Brandon said, his parents or their parents don't seem to know what to do with them. Shitface has Chucky wants to name Shitface Glenn, and he wants Glenn to be a boy, and Tiffany wants to name Shitface Glenda, and she wants Glenda to be a girl. And Glenn slash Glenda has no genitals whatsoever. So Glenda slash Glenda can be whatever they want to be. And so they decide that they're going to try and figure this out together while they look for new bodies for themselves. But first, what has to happen is they have to kill a guy. Because as soon as Chucky and Tiffany come back to life, you always got to kill a guy. It happens in every movie. So the poor prop master comes into the prop studio and gets his head hacked off by Chucky. And naturally, Glenn slash Glenda doesn't like this because they're not violent, they're a pacifist, and they piss their pants. Because that's what they do. Oh
And for
boy.
anyone who doesn't realize it,
Mm.
the name Glenn Glenda,
Yeah.
it actually comes from a movie from the 1950s. Edward D. Wood Jr., who is supposed to be one of the worst filmmakers of all time. He's the guy that directed the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space, who some people
Okay.
consider the worst movie. Tim Burton made a movie called Ed Wood about this director,
Yeah.
and he was, I guess at the time they called it a cross dresser because it was 1950s. This kind of thing wasn't a big thing, but he was, and he made a movie called Glenn or Glenda, which
Oh,
was about himself and his own internal struggle with wanting to wear women's clothes, and he didn't know if he was male or female. And apparently it was a terrible movie, and of course at the time it was outrageous and shocking,
yeah.
and apparently it's just the biggest piece of shit. But just because his filmmaking skills are terrible. But it was one of the first movies that explored this topic that was very taboo in that era.
Yeah.
So that's where they got the name Glenn or Glenda was from that movie.
Okay. And Glenn or Glenda, they're voiced by Billy Boyd, who's one of the hobbits from the Lord of the Rings movies, and I love the hobbits. So I like Glenn slash Glenda by default because I love my hobbits and he's one of them. Yeah, so Jennifer Tilly is pissed because Jennifer Tilly keeps losing roles to Julia Roberts. And did you know, I learned in an interview recently, I had no idea, that Jennifer Tilly was 40 when she played this role. Or no, she was 40 in Bride of Chucky. So she was probably, let's say, she was in her mid 40s during this movie. And she looks fantastic. Holy smokes.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you would know it. Like she's like, I think she's the same age as my mom.
yeah,
It's like I was like, whoa, like yeah, she,
yeah.
yeah,
So she keeps losing roles to Julia Roberts, and she's pissed. So Redman, as Brandon mentioned, famed director rapper Redman, is casting a new movie about the Virgin Mary, and Jennifer Tilly really wants to get this role as a mid 40-year-old woman as the Virgin Mary, and so she's willing to do whatever it takes. She's gonna sleep with them because she heard that Julia Roberts sleeps with directors to get the movies. So she invites him to her place. And that's where Chucky and Tiffany decide, okay, this is what we're going to do. We are going to inhabit the bodies of Jennifer Tilly and Redman. And so we're going to sneak along in the back of their limo, or in the back of her limo, so that we can go to Jennifer Tilly's house and get this all arranged.
yeah. And there's an ongoing storyline too where there is a whole series of brutal murders that Chucky and Tiffany commit.
Yeah.
But Tiffany is starting to have second thoughts. She's like, like we're parents now. We can't be doing this. Yeah. So Tiffany and Chucky make a promise. Well, Tiffany kind of encourages them. They promise they're not going to do any more murders.
Yeah.
Chucky has no intention of following this, and even takes his son out, and they go and they kill the John Waters character.
Yeah.
But Tiffany, meanwhile, is trying to stop, but she's struggling, and she even calls her sponsor,
Yeah.
kind of like it's like a AA type of thing where she's trying to not do murders, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh no, I'm gonna relapse, and he's like, no, it's okay, it's just a slip up, and of
Yeah.
course the guy on the phone's talking about alcoholism, she's
Yeah.
talking about murder, so there's some confusion.
Now it's important
Um,
to remember that Rome wasn't built in a day.
yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day. That's what tries to keep her in line. But of course, somehow her and Chucky can't keep from killing people. And the whole time, the little young boy slash girl doll
Yeah.
is confused because they've been having dreams of violence and killing people,
Yeah.
but they're a pacifist and they don't want to do it and they're horrified by it. But their parents are both killers, and so there's some confusion there on the part of the young doll.
Yeah, and every time they witness a murder, their eye starts twitching like this. And a lot of times they piss their pants too, which is kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so they come up with a cockamamie scheme of how they're going to get so they know who they're going to get bodies for the adult dolls. But now they need to get a body for the child doll. And whatever, so they decide that they're going to impregnate Jennifer Tilly with Chucky's doll semen. And so in order to get that doll semen, he has to jack it old school to some Fangoria magazines. And that's where John Waters starts taking pictures of this doll jerking off. But and so they have to go stop him from publishing those photos. But they decide the whole scheme is once Jennifer Tilly is impregnated, since it's a voodoo baby, it'll happen really fast. She'll have the baby real fast, and then whatever gender or whatever sex the baby comes out as, not gender, whatever sex the baby comes out as, that's what Glenn or Glenda will be. And they'll transfer the soul of Glenn slash Glenda into that body, and Bob's your uncle. That's how they're gonna live. That's the scheme. They have to kill John Waters, and they kill him with acid, and it looks really cool. But Glenn slash Glenda doesn't like that very much. They start to enact their plan. So their plan is to drug both Jennifer Tilly and Redman, and then impregnate Jennifer Tilly, but it doesn't quite go to plan. So they
Okay.
try and drug them, but they're not taking the drinks. So Tiffany has to come out and start conking people on the head to knock them out. So she grabs like a trophy and she's nailing people in the head with this trophy. First she nails Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly goes down. Then she hucks the thing at Redman and it bings him off the head. And the two of them wake up the next morning. Well, Chucky does his thing with the turkey baster, and they impregnate Jennifer Tilly. And then they wake up the next morning, Redman and Jennifer Tilly, and they don't know what the heck happened. They're both fully clothed in the bed. They don't know what they've done or what they haven't done, but they do know one thing, and that's Jennifer Tilly is pregnant because it's a voodoo baby, and she's already showing, and she's testing pregnant. And Redman is like, I don't know what you're talking about. It couldn't have been me. I got myself, I got the snip snip job. I got a vasectomy as soon as I became famous because I didn't want anything like this to happen. And she's all like, oh, but who else could it be? Because I haven't been with anybody else, and you're the only person here, and how am I pregnant? And this guy, Redman, was such an asshole to her that Tiffany decided that she was going to gut him at the table while he was sitting there, and Jennifer Tilly was talking to him. And that was a pretty good scene. I thought that was pretty cool. His
Yeah,
guts were
those.
steaming. They were so hot. They were the hottest guts I've ever seen.
I remember being kind of grossed out the first time I saw this back when it
Yeah.
came out. I remember being like, "Whoa, that's pretty graphic." Because usually when guts come out, they're not steaming. They
Yeah.
added that extra little detail in there just to make it that much more.
The only time I can recall that I've ever seen steaming guts in another movie was The Thing, because it was in the Arctic.
Yeah.
And yeah, with the dog and all that, like as soon as somebody would bust open, if they were outside, the steam would come off. And that's the only other movie I can think of where I've seen steaming guts.
Yeah, I'm glad they paid that extra attention to detail. Really paid off.
Yeah. I mean, he had just been eating. Maybe his guts were super hot, right?
So then we eventually get to the point
Yeah.
where Tiffany and Chucky realize, I was like, "Hey, you've been cheating, but you've been cheating too." And
Yeah.
Chucky opens a door, and all these bodies fall out of people that he killed. And then we get one of my, it might be one of my favorite moments from the series, definitely from this movie, where finally the little child doll kind of can't take it anymore, and he commits a murder. And it's very weird because Chucky thinks it's Tiffany and
Yeah.
goes up to like talk to her. Also, the doll spins around and it's the boy slash girl dressed as like a female doll.
Yeah.
And I say that for a movie that's pretty hilarious, that's probably the scariest part in the whole series.
Yeah.
That doll was friggin' whack.
Yeah.
That was just a very weird scene, and he's so confused about his identity, and
Yeah.
he's talking funny. I don't know. It's kind of
Well,
a crazy scene.
previous to that, the only we'd only seen Shitface as Glenn the pacifist. But Glenda, the serial killer, has always been kind of lurking under the surface, and she's the one that would come out when he had his dreams. So she was the subconscious character until finally Glenn's psyche broke and Glenda came up to the front. It's something that happens with people that have, I can't remember what the current term for multiple personality disorder, dissociative personality disorder. So the Glenn personality dissociated, and Glenda came to the front, and she is the killer, and she did kill, and it was a pretty good scene. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Glenda kills the British assistant of Jennifer Tilly by, first of all, setting her on fire and then knocking her off a railing and making her plunge down a bunch of stairs and like just splat on the ground. And I yelled, "Holy shit," when that happened because holy shit, it was crazy.
That character, the one that got burned, the assistant, was played by Hannah Spirit, who I don't know if you remember that British TV show S Club 7.
I didn't watch it. I know of it.
Yeah, it came out. I didn't really watch it either, but I people used to make fun of me just the fact that I even knew the characters' names because I
Okay.
watched it like one time. I'm like, I'm aware of it. I knew their names because I watched an episode or two, but it's not like I was a big fan. But yeah, that's what she's from. This
Okay.
I don't think she did a lot of things other than that, but this is one of her
Yeah. She was
few.
an S Club party girl.
Yeah,
See, I know the song. So after that, Jennifer Tilly and her driver are tied up on the bed, and she's about to have her babies, and she does have the babies, and lo and behold, there's twins, and one is a girl and one is a boy. But before they can do their rituals to take over all these primo bodies here, they can't take Redman now because he's dead. But Chucky was going to go into the body of the driver. Chucky decides, hey, you know what? I like being a doll. Being a doll is pretty cool. I want to be a doll forever. Look, I'm in this new body that has no scars or anything like that. I'm in this cool new doll body. I want to be a doll forever. And Tiffany is not having that. So somebody, I think it's Chucky tries to kill Tiffany with an axe, and the driver gets in the way, so now he's dead. Jennifer Tilly wakes up in the hospital, and then Tiffany tries to do the ritual again, but this time Chucky gets her in the head. So it looks like Chucky kills Tiffany. But we all know what happens in these movies. Anytime it looks like somebody's got the ritual done, they got the ritual done. It's actually done. We're spoiling it here, but if you're watching this, you've already had the movie spoiled. Who cares, right? So Tiffany is actually in Jennifer Tilly. And but what happens now is that Glenn slash Glenda thinks that his mother has been killed by this guy, by this Chucky guy who's his dad. And they have the best Japanese martial arts ninja fight ever. And Glenn dismembers his father. And as he's doing it, as he's cutting all of his limbs off and cutting his head off, Chucky says to his son, "Go get him, son," or so like, "You did it,
yeah,
son," or "I'm proud of you, son," or something like that. Like, "Go get him, kid." I can't remember exactly the words, but he was proud of his son for killing his dad.
yeah.
Okay. And then we jump forward in 5 years. And Brandon, what happens 5 years later?
Well, basically, it looks like everything's settled down, and Jennifer Tilly's raising the twins. And we don't know at this point. We assume that Chucky and Tiffany are dead. The ritual didn't work, and this is regular old Jennifer Tilly. And then the house sitter, the nanny, complains. She's like, "Oh, like your son Glenn, he's wonderful. He's a joy, but Glenda, like, dude, that girl's evil. The way she looks at me." And then we see Glenda just staring and glaring out the window. And she's like, "I can't do this anymore. I quit." So then Jennifer Tilly kills the nanny.
Yeah.
That's when we realize, oh, it's not actually Jennifer Tilly, it's actually Tiffany. So the ritual that we thought that was prevented at the last second actually worked.
Yeah. And
And
just in
then
case you had any doubt, her eyes turn green like Tiffany's. So,
yeah. And then it ends with Glenn, who is of course the pacifist and kind of horrified at his sister's actions. He receives a gift that comes in the mail, and he opens it, and it's his dad's severed arm that for some reason jumps up and attacks him right at the second the movie cuts to the credits.
and he pisses his pants too.
And he just ongoing through the movie. I do have to bring it back a quick second to the part where Chucky decides not to be put into the
Yeah.
limo driver's body.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of right because he basically says like, I'm famous. I'm more famous now in this body than I am as the human. So I think he's almost breaking the fourth wall. He's like I'm Chucky. Like
Yeah.
I'm notorious. I'm this like famous icon. So he's kind of talking like in movie world, but also in real life that he's like everyone knows Chucky. And if I remember correctly, I saw like a documentary on this movie, and Redman, I can't remember if they asked him or he asked to be a part of it, but he's like,
Mhm.
he was such a big Chucky fan that he's like, I want to be in this movie. So it's like, yeah, Chucky become this cultural icon, and I think in within the movie, Chucky realizes that, and he's like, why would I want to be in some douchebag regular limo driver's body
Yeah.
when I'm this notorious like killer doll? That's way cooler. And it's kind of like, yeah, and it's something they never really recapture in the series. It's like it's kind of almost downhill from there, but we can talk about those ones later. But I
Yeah.
really like that moment.
Yeah. I thought it was good too. They had that was a good kind of fourth wall break, and they had a fourth wall joke in Bride of Chucky as well, but I didn't write down what it was. But it was another one of those ones where he's like, oh, it was the I always come back. It was like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll come back. I always come back. It was that joke. And they make that joke several times throughout the rest of the series too. I always come back.
Yeah, part four is where it definitely became like self aware,
Yeah.
and then Seed of Chucky is where it just went out full on New Nightmare. I'm
Yeah.
Haunted 5, where this is in the real world.
This is the high point of the series.
Yeah,
Now, there's another one that I think was pretty good after this, but this was definitely the high point of the series. Um, what did you rate this one?
I would give it. I would also give it an 8, the same as I gave Bride of
Yeah.
Chucky, but I kind of like them both for different reasons. But if I had to pick, I think I like Seed of Chucky a bit more, just because
Yeah.
it's funnier and it's more fun.
I gave this one a 9. I really liked this one. I thought it was clever. I thought it was progressive. I thought it was very funny. Jennifer Tilly is a superstar. I mean, holy crap. It was her movie, really. Brad Dourif and all those guys were there, but this was Jennifer Tilly's movie. This was her. If she were to show a reel of her best work, it would probably a lot of it would come out of this movie, I think.
Yeah,
Fantastic, fantastic stuff. She'd probably show the lesbian stuff from Bound too, because
yeah.
she
That's
makes
something
reference
I
to
love the fact that
it.
when I first saw it, when
Yeah,
Redman was like, she's like, "What's your favorite movie of mine?" And
yeah.
that's where my mind went bound. Yeah. And he's like, "What's that one with you and the other woman?" You know, like, and I was like, "Oh, they're actually making that joke." Yeah, it's like,
And they
yeah,
made a joke about it later too when she was something was happening when she was on the phone. Tiffany said, and she was pretending she was Jennifer Tilly. She was like, "Oh no, I was just making out with," and I'm bad because like Gina
Gina
Gershon. I was
Gershon.
making out with Gina.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, that was a good one.
yeah. So this is the high point of the series. It's never going to be this good again. But as far as how bad it gets, we will have to discuss in our next review
Yeah.
on Curse of Chucky. So we'll be back. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm back again with Ben Metcalf from 3 Minute Horror Reviews, and we're continuing our Child's Play / Chucky review series. Now we're on to the sixth installment called Curse of Chucky. This one takes it in a different direction. It's the first direct-to-video one. It's got a noticeably lower budget, and it's a smaller story in scale, and it basically takes place 99% in one house.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess let's get started. Do you want to let us know what you think of this one?
Well, I thought it was this movie is interesting for me because I went in waves with it. I was not on board in the beginning, and then I got kind of on board, and then I got back off board, and then I got right back on board again. So it was like a roller coaster with this one. There were several times in this movie where I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm with this movie," and then I wasn't, and then I was. It's just weird, right? Um, I don't like the look of it. Well, I initially didn't like the look of it all, but they changed it over the course of the thing, and we'll get into that how they did that. But yeah, initially I wasn't down with how the doll looked. Uh, this one was the first of two that were filmed in Winnipeg, so these are Canadian filmed. Most of the side actors are Canadian actors, other than like Fiona Dourif and the big name people. By the way, this is the first of two movies that Fiona Dourif is the star of, and that is the daughter of Brad Dourif, for the people who don't know, the voice of Chucky. But and we'll get into that a little bit later too. What did you think of this one?
I, so when it first came out, I saw it when it first came out, and I really didn't like it. I
Mhm.
was just very, very disappointed in it. I watched it again last night to refresh my memory for this review, and I'll say I liked it better than I did the first time, but it's still, I'd say it's my least favorite out of all of them so far. It's not horrible. Yeah, you're right. It seems like they had like half hour of a good movie,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, we need to be an hour and a half, so let's fill it with an hour of other stuff. And it's like, yeah, if you took all the best parts, there is some cool stuff in there, but there's a lot of boring parts. And it's the whole movie is basically like a few people in one house. So there's a lot of just dull kind of stuff that, we're there for the killer doll, and they stripped Chucky out of. They took the comedy out of it. They tried to go back
Yeah.
to their roots of the horror roots, and I don't think that's a good decision. I don't think Chucky works as well as a horror movie. It's a talking doll. Like, there's something about it, it's always going to be funny. You can't take it that seriously. It's not The Exorcist. And Chucky's become such an iconic character. I even mentioned during our review of Seed of Chucky, there's even a part where he says, like, I'm an icon, like I'm
Yeah.
famous. And in this movie, it's like, hey, let's strip all that away from him, and he's just a killer doll again. He used to be funny. Him and Tiffany would have their banter, and it was like everything was funny. And now they made him like serious again, and I think they lost something where the movie is just not fun to watch like it used to be.
Yeah. He doesn't actually speak in earnest as Brad Dourif's voice until probably the last third of this movie. So he is, you see him running around, but you don't really hear him become Chucky until much later in this movie. And now it did have some really good scenes. There were some really effective scenes that they wrote into this. So to give you a little bit of background on how this one gets started, Fiona Dourif is a character who is a paraplegic. So her legs don't work. She doesn't feel anything from the waist down, I don't think, or maybe just her legs. I'm not sure because something happens in the next one that makes you think that she feels some stuff, but below her waist. But so Fiona Dourif is a character who's in a wheelchair. She's living with her mother. Her mother appears to be some sort of artist, and she's very overprotective of her daughter, who is handicapped. She is sent a throwback good guys doll, who we don't hear it talk at all. Like it doesn't do the whole talking thing until a little bit later. But later that night, Fiona Dourif's in bed. She hears a scream. She hears a crash. She gets herself set up to go downstairs. It takes a little while because she is in a wheelchair and she has a lift that takes her down. It's a really cool looking lift. The house is very cool. There are some questionable things in this house that we'll get into soon that I don't understand, but and I think you probably know what I'm talking about. But she goes down on this lift and she finds that her mother is dead. Now, her mother has been stabbed in the guts, like her mother has been gutted, but the police come and they rule that a suicide, which is wild. I don't think that anybody would really do that. Um, uh, in that sort of a situation, they wouldn't take their own life that way. There's no way. But nobody realizes that it's the doll because hey, who else was in the house? And nobody seems to know the story of Chucky the killer doll in this
Yeah,
movie.
that was a. There's some major plot points in this
Yeah,
movie, but that was a big one. And
yeah,
at first, it seems almost like this is movie's a different continuity.
yeah,
You might think that at the beginning, but later on, it's not because we
yeah,
see Tiffany. We see they talk about the Barclays and everything. Like
yeah,
we see. Oh, so this movie is in the continuity. So
yeah,
how could this family not know? They were making movies about if there was a real life killer doll killing people,
yeah,
and it was such a famous story that they were making movies about it. How could you not be aware of this doll? Like
yeah.
it
And
just makes sense.
not to spoil the story, but I mean, at this point, when we are watching these videos, we assume that you've already seen the movie, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this movie where we spoil the whole thing. But if you are a family that is so directly linked to Charles Lee Ray, the serial killer that inhabited this, urban legends say inhabited the doll, the Chucky killer doll, and you get one of these dolls at your house, and you know Charles Lee Ray because he was your fucking neighbor. I mean, chances are you're going to know the story of what
Yeah,
happened and you're going to suspect something. Holy moly. What a crazy thing.
it just really didn't make sense. And there was little things in the movie. I actually got a
Yeah.
list here. I might
Okay.
reference other things that don't quite make
Go for
sense.
it. Yeah.
But we'll get into those in a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, you mentioned the doll's face. I didn't like later on
Yeah.
it changes,
Yeah.
but I didn't like how he looked. It looked
It looked
cheap.
bad.
It just
Yeah.
looked like a low budget imitation of the 1988 movie.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like a fake, and there is a reason for that. And that's when the movie when they revealed why there was a reason why it looked fake. That's when I was like, okay, maybe I'm on board with this movie. That's
Yeah,
what it
it wasn't
turned.
like okay. Like I'm glad they redeemed themselves because
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of my notes. It's like what a shitty looking doll. But then later, like, okay, I get it. But the thing is, like what they try to do in this movie, like you said, Chucky doesn't really become Chucky. Like he doesn't have his personality until
Yeah.
much later in the movie. At the beginning, they go back to, oh, there's a series of suspicious murders,
Yeah.
and who could it be? It's like, we're the sixth movie in by now. We've been through this before of the whole no one suspects the doll, but
Yeah.
we as the audience know it's the doll. That's why I think for parts 4 and 5 with Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, they're like, forget about that. It's been played out. Everyone knows it's the doll. So let's just have
Yeah.
the dolls flat out be the killers and we see them talking and they're the protagonists.
Yeah.
Now we go back to the old way of doing it. And it's like, come on, this is like 20, like what, 20 years old by this point? Like we've seen it before. And it just, there was a lot of cool shots. There was some cool scenes. It's like, it's not badly done. It's just after Seed of Chucky and just how fun that was and how crazy it was.
Yeah. This was
Now we're just
felt like a
going
step
back
back.
to a dull version of it, and it was just a lot of it. It's kind of like, come on, just fast forward to the next kill. That's what we're there for. I want to see Chucky being Chucky. I don't want to see people being suspicious of this crappy looking doll.
So the Fiona Dourif's character's name is Nika. So Nika's family comes to her sister specifically, and her sister's husband, their daughter, the nanny, and a priest, a Catholic priest played by A. Martinez, who's a pretty, I like that guy. He's been in Longmire, he's been in a bunch of stuff. Uh, they come to um, see about Nika, to stay with Nika while they get the arrangements done for their mother's funeral. And there's a very effective scene that comes up. It's probably the best scene in this whole movie, next to the reveal of Chucky being Chucky, uh, where Nika and the little girl, Alice, are making vegan chili. We could just say chili. I guess it doesn't, we don't need to say vegan chili, but they call it, say vegan chili. So they're making vegan chili, and then they go out to set the table together. And Chucky is left alone with the bowls. And it's all these little bowls. And Chucky pours a whole shit ton of rat poison into one of the bowls. And it was very effective, the dinner scene after that, where you're trying to figure out who's eating the tainted chili. Because it really could have been any of them. And some of them were acting weird. And even the Alice, the little girl, said her chili tasted wrong. And that turns out because it's vegan and it's not real chili. But, or it's not real beef chili, I guess. Uh, but yeah, I thought that that was a really effective scene. The way that they played that out with the suspense, very effective. But
I think they went a bit too far with it.
yeah, okay,
I think they were trying to make it too obvious. It's like, yeah, you had the setup. We don't know which one's poison. We already know that. They had to like rub it in our faces because it'd be like it's like, okay, let's dig in, and then the little girl's like about to take a bite,
yeah,
and all of a sudden the dad like grabs her wrist. He's like, wait, and then he's like, I want to say a toast first.
yeah,
It's like, come on, like, and they did a couple of those where it's just like, okay, now you're just being ridiculous with it. They should have just downplayed it a bit. That
yeah.
kind of annoyed me because the scene would have worked better without that. But yeah, it seemed like because was that the first kill after the mom?
Yeah,
I think it was.
yeah, it was.
So it was like okay, like this is an interesting way to get into the kills, and then they kind of abandon that and they change it and then it's like the priest leaves abruptly because he feels sick,
Yeah,
which didn't quite make sense. It's like, oh, he's been poisoned, he feels bad, so he's like, oh, sorry, I have to go. And they're like, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, I have another appointment.
yeah.
And then he like rushes out the door, gets in his car, and then crashes and dies.
So he could go home and have bloody diarrhea. That's where he was. He was speeding to have bloody diarrhea.
Yeah, it was. I just thought that was
It was a
a weird
funny death though, because I mean, the cop did exactly what you're not supposed to do when somebody's in a traffic accident like that, and they've got they're kind of stuck with metal. It's like, oh, let's move it. We got to move it so that we can get this guy free. And they move it, and this guy's head pops right off.
I think that might have been like the only, was that the only scene other than like the very, very end? Was that the only scene that wasn't in the house? Because like everything
Yeah.
else is inside the house. Like
Yeah,
you
everything
don't
else
even
is
really,
inside or directly outside.
yeah, like you don't really see much of anything other than just what's in that house.
Yeah.
But then of course there's a lot of drama that the older sister, Nika's older sister, is really mean to her,
Yeah.
and she's overbearing too. And then there's a stupid subplot where the older sister is having an affair with the nanny, and
Yeah.
then the husband finds out about it and is gonna like blackmail her. There's just a whole lot of stuff that it's like they just had to pad the runtime, so there's
Yeah.
story in there that's not Chucky, which is what everyone's there to see.
There was a bunch of red herring stuff too, where they spend about 15 minutes of this thing trying to convince you that the nanny and the husband are having an affair just so that they can do a gotcha and have her making out with the mom. So, I mean, that part was I mean, why try and build it up like that and then or try and build it up longer throughout the whole thing and then do a reveal. I think they revealed it either too quick or they either shouldn't have done it at all or they revealed it too quick.
Yeah, I just found myself not caring. It's
Yeah.
like I know they were trying to be like, oh, here's this exciting drama going on with these people, but it's like, man, I'm here to see the killer doll. Like that's it was just kind of like it just seemed like wasted time. They could have cut that out, made the movie like 15 minutes shorter, and it would have been a tighter, faster, more enjoyable pace.
So the next kill happens after there's something with Alice. The doll can't be found, and so then Nika finds the doll, delivers it back up to Alice, and the mother has been the mother and the nanny are they come out of their embrace because people are walking around looking for things like they're going to get caught. So the nanny goes back to Alice's room, and the mom goes back to the room that she's staying in with her husband. Her husband is passed out, stone cold asleep, and they start webcamming with each other from within the same house. Chucky, the mom sees Chucky coming around the corner, so she thinks it's Alice, but she it's Chucky. Now, here's my problem with this house. Why this house is crazy. Because the laptop is plugged in to a plug, but the plug is not in the wall, it's in the floor. Okay? So, outlets in every house that you've ever seen anywhere. I don't know if this is an actual thing where the outlet is actually in the floor, so you're actually plugging it into the floor, not into the wall, into the floor. But the fact that the plug is in the floor allows Chucky to pour a bunch of water on the floor. It gets into the outlet and then fries this nanny. And I don't know why the house was built that way because this seems like a very obvious safety a safety they've overlooked something big time.
Yeah, I didn't. That was such a stupid death.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's just a trope in movies in general
Yeah.
that people get electrocuted so easily.
Yeah.
Like if you were on a laptop and you just like spilt some water or some liquid like on even on the power bar or something,
Yeah.
it's not going to kill you. And she's just like electrocuted. Her like eye burns out.
It looked
Like
like it was going to pop, and I thought that would have been cool, but it didn't.
it was just such a ridiculous thing. It's like man, it'd be like half the population of the world would be dead from electrocution if just like moisture could get in something like that. I'm just like, come on, like the last two movies had such cool inventive deaths.
Yeah.
Now we're resorting to stuff like this, and everything just seemed like it was a contrived plot device just to make the story happen.
Yeah.
It's like why like the older sister and the nanny who are having an affair, they're like like they're FaceTiming with each other within the same house. Not only that, but the nanny is in the same room with the little girl. Like if you're going to be doing this type of stuff online, don't do it when there's a child in the room
Yeah.
and you're already in the same house. So why not just stay up together? No one's going to think it's suspicious if you're just sitting up there. The husband goes to bed early or whatever, and
Yeah.
his wife's just chatting with the nanny in the living room. That's not suspicious, and it's way better than like, hey, let's go. I'm going to sit next to my husband, who I think is asleep, Meanwhile, the person she's having an affair with is in a room with a small child.
Yeah.
This is the time they pick to have a some sort of like flirty conversation. It's like that.
Yeah, the element of danger.
Yeah, and I also don't buy it that the older sister is watching the nanny on the video and sees Chucky walk by
And think it's Alice.
and thinks it's the dog. You
Yeah.
can't tell the difference between like a foot and a half tall redheaded doll and your
Yeah.
own kid. Like it's like, come on, that was obviously not your kid. Uh, this movie was full of things like that that just pissed me off because it's like you're just doing that to have the next plot point. There's a part later where the husband reveals that he hid a video camera in Chucky so that he
Yeah.
could spy on his wife, and he knows that she's having an affair. And he's like, if you, basically blackmails her, like I could show this to anyone, and I would get custody of the kid, and I'd screw you over. And later, he's watching the video back to get evidence of what happened,
Yeah.
and you see Chucky running around with his camera in there, and doesn't the husband clue in that this doll's walking around on its own? He doesn't seem to notice that. He's just watching it,
Yeah,
what's
he doesn't
happening.
clue in until it's too late.
Yeah, until it's like, oh, it's the doll's coming up behind us now.
Yeah.
It's like, how could you not notice that?
Yeah, in between there, they show that Charles Lee Ray was in their home movies from when the mother was pregnant with Nika. Charles Lee Ray is just like the creepy weirdo who's at the older sister's birthday party, just looking like a creep, watching the kids, and so that seems shoehorned in as well. I think that was Don Mancini's way of trying to tie everything together, and he does kind of at the end, but I mean, it's really contrived. The older sister encounters Chucky. I believe it's in the attic, or it's somewhere up high because she falls downstairs afterwards. But she encounters the doll and she gets a really good close look at the face. And this is the part that Brandon and I were talking about, where she notices that there's some sort of plasticine or something. There's some sort of makeup on this doll, like special effects makeup or something like that. Uh, and she starts peeling it off, and she encounters all the different scarred, uh, stitched up bits of the doll that we would have seen in the previous films. And that I thought was really cool. And that's when he becomes Brad Dourif and he says something snarky to her right before he pokes her eye out.
Yeah, for like that moment on, the movie's pretty
Yeah.
cool. But going back to the whole movies thing,
Yeah.
that's another trope that we've seen way too much in horror movies, where you're watching an old home movie and oh, look in the background there.
Yeah.
There's a person or a ghost or some sort of clue that ties into the movie. It's like we've seen that so many
Oh, yeah.
times. I don't know why they need to do that here.
There's a whole movie about it. It's called Sinister.
Yeah, and also this movie, interesting enough, we finally get this. Other than the opening scene in the very first movie, where we see Charles Lee Ray fleeing the police and he gets killed, and he
Yeah.
first puts his soul into the doll. We haven't actually seen Brad Dourif slash Charles Lee Ray in this movie. There's some flashback scenes in black and white that we actually get to see him acting and stuff, and it's so
Yeah.
weird to hear Chucky's voice coming from a human being.
Yeah, especially from a guy who's really, really old and they didn't even bother to try and de-age him other than, I don't know.
I don't think they had the technology to de-age him, but yeah, he's noticeably older than he was in the
Yeah.
first movie.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was cool that they kind of tried to tie it back to the whole thing. And the reason why Nika is the way she is because right before Charles Lee Ray was executed by the police, the reason why he was on the run into the toy store is because he had had Nika's mother captive. And right when she was about to give birth, he stabbed Nika in the womb with a knife, which caused her all sorts of difficulties, and it is why she is the way she is. And then he went on the run because the cops were trying to get him, and that's when he became Chucky. Spoiler for the end of the movie. But there is stuff that happens before that. Some pretty cool stuff too.
Yeah, there's a lot of just them fighting off Chucky, and
Yeah.
it's actually quite effective. I think before there was just so much useless, kind of boring stuff in between that the first
Yeah.
time I watched it, I'd given up by the time we got to the end. Where now it's like, okay, if you just get past that, there is some pretty effective, nicely done stuff with, you know, the people fighting a killer doll, which is kind
Yeah.
of the original what Chucky's supposed to be. And you finally see Chucky with his stitched up face, which I've
Yeah.
grown to like. So they redeem themselves of having, and they even explain why they had the shitty looking doll.
Yeah.
It's like Chucky just put his own makeup over his scars. So it's like, oh, okay, I could forgive him for that. And yeah, the ending's actually pretty cool.
The end ending is a very strong ending of this movie. That's where they tie everything all together. But Nika does some cool fighting too. She uses her paralyzed legs to her advantage too. Since she can't feel anything in her legs, Chucky tries to go after her with an axe. She takes it full on in the leg. She just swings her leg out there, so her leg takes that, and then she pulls the axe out of her leg and gets him. Um, it's pretty neat. She does take quite a spill at one point. She falls down pretty hard. This is right near the end, and Chucky leaves her for dead as the cops are arriving, so that it looks like she did the whole thing, because that's what Chucky does, or that's what Chucky did initially in the movies, is make it look like the protagonist of the movie is the bad guy, and that's what he did in this one too.
And that's where I have a hard because the next scene we see is that Nika is in court. She's been declared legally insane and she's going to be locked up in a mental institution forever. At this point, isn't it common knowledge that the doll did it? Like we have multiple
Yeah,
police officers, all sorts of other credible people that said it's the doll that did it. Not only that, but they have that video camera, the hidden video that was in Chucky,
yeah,
showing that he did all the murders. Like, wouldn't her attorney bring that up?
they sure
Like, I
do.
don't I
Yeah,
don't get why they don't even consider the fact that maybe her story's true. But it's like, okay, whatever. And then we cut to a scene later where Alice, the young daughter,
yeah.
she's living with her grandma now, and Chucky. Oh yeah, we get a surprise. The cops are taking the evidence away after the trial. The Chucky doll. All of a sudden, Tiffany, like full grown Jennifer Tilly,
Yeah.
pops up in the back seat, slits his throat, and then she mails Chucky doll to young Alice, and then it kind of ends with him putting his soul into her.
She's 2 for 2 with crooked cops transporting Chucky.
Yeah.
And then, and then there was the post-credit scene.
Oh, I didn't watch that. What is it?
Oh, you didn't watch it?
I
Oh my
didn't
God.
know there was one.
It's Andy Barclay.
Oh, okay.
So the doll was mailed. So Jennifer Tilly slash Tiffany mailed the doll to Andy Barclay. Okay. And as Andy Barclay opens up, and it's Alex Vincent, not the kid who played him in the third movie, but the kid who played him in the first two movies. It's that Andy Barclay.
And he's
He
like an adult now, right?
Yeah, he's an adult now. He opens up the thing, and it's a Chucky doll. And just as the Chucky doll is about to say, like, what do you know, Andy Barkley, or something like that, or remember me? All of a sudden, it swings to the side, and Andy Barkley's got a shotgun on him, and then boom,
Oh,
he was
nice.
ready. You got to watch that one. Holy crap!
Yeah,
Um,
I'm definitely gonna watch that now.
there's a post-credit scene after Cult of Chucky too. If you didn't watch that one, you got to go watch
Oh
that
yeah,
one
I'll
too.
keep that in mind. Yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna mention. I think it should just be a general rule in Chucky world.
Yeah.
If you get a package delivered to your house that's just big enough to hold a good guy doll
Yeah.
and there's no return address on it,
Throw it in
don't
the
open
compactor.
it.
Incinerate it immediately. It's not a PlayStation 5, it's a Chucky doll.
It's the same at the seed of Chucky. It's like, oh, here's a weird thing that came in the mail addressed to our kid.
Yeah,
No
that is
return
doll
address.
sized.
Hey, just take this package and go off and open it on your own. It's going to lead to something bad.
Yeah.
Oh, so what would you give this one?
I gave this one a 6 out of 10. It was definitely not my favorite. It's the start of things that I felt like they were going to go downhill from there. Uh, we'll talk about the next one when we come to it. But this one was a bit of a lower point for me. It's still not a bad movie. There was no jank CGI. It all seemed to be practical effects. It was a smaller scale. But like I said, I was on a roller coaster with this one. I was not on board, then I wasn't, and then I was. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to give it a 5. Like I said, I think that
Mhm.
the parts with Chucky are cool. There's even the part where he's like under the covers with the young girl and she's
Yeah.
talking to him,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "I'm scared" because it's like storming or whatever, and then
Yeah.
he's like, all of a sudden his face comes to life,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You fucking should be," or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
like, why could the whole movie be like that? I think they just I think they were limited with their budget and the fact that they had a small cast and everything had to be in one house.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot they could do, and there's only so many murders they could have, so they had to have a whole lot of other kind of boring stuff, wasting time, and the whole relationship with the mom and the older sister and the younger sister. It would have been better. Its best moments, like they should have had more of that, basically.
Maybe Brad Dourif's hourly rate was too high.
Yeah,
I don't
that too.
know. All
Yeah,
right.
so I guess that's it for that one. So we'll be
Yeah.
back next time with Cult of Chucky. We'll see if things get any better. And thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
I'm going to say before we leave, I
Oh,
didn't realize that Curse of Chucky or Cult of Chucky ever existed until we sat down to watch them for this.
oh,
I didn't
oh.
even know they were a thing. I knew Seed of Chucky was there, and I knew there was a remake. Didn't know these two movies existed. So they're
Oh,
new.
there you go.
Okay, bye.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm back here with Ben Metcalf from 3 Minute Horror Reviews, and we're continuing our reviews of the Child's Play / Chucky series, and now we're on to the last movie from the main continuity, which is called Cult of Chucky.
Yeah.
And this was an interesting one. This one was new to Ben, along with the last one. He didn't even know they existed up until fairly recently. I saw this when it came out, and I watched it again for this review, just to refresh my mind. And well, we'll start with you, Ben. What did you think of this one?
I thought it was better than the last. I thought it was better than Curse of Chucky, but it was still a bit weird. I mean, they tried their very best. I think Don Mancini was pulling all the stops out to try and connect everything back up together. That things that, I mean, he succeeded in some ways. Some things he managed to connect in a very satisfying way, but other things really didn't. It was an interesting movie. It was another one of those ones where um, I think that I had a different impression of it at the beginning than I did at the end. So I think it started off a little bit weaker, but that it ended up, we'll get into it. But when it gets into the climax of the action, I thought it was a hell of a lot of fun towards the end. It is also the second one that's based in Winnipeg. That's where it was filmed, and most of the character and the color actors, the actors that add to the color of the movie, were Canadian. So that was interesting. I love to see some Canadian content. Brandon and I are Canadian, so we like our CanCon. Um, but yeah, I thought it started very strong. The very first scene, you see Andy Barclay torturing a Chucky head, which is just letting him have it in Brad Dourif's voice, like making fun of him and teasing him, and then getting tortured. There's none of that beating around the bush where they're pretending that Chucky is an actual doll at the beginning of this one, like they did in the last one. They started straight off with craziness, and I appreciated that. What do you think?
Yeah, this one it's kind of like the first three Child's Play movies are, even though all of them so far, right up to the remake, have been the same continuity, but you can kind of group them together. The first three kind of go together, and then
Yeah,
Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky kind of go together, and then Curse of Chucky and Call of Chucky kind of go together.
yeah.
Yeah, this one it had a little bit of a different vibe. It almost had it was more like a straight to video streaming vibe. Like it didn't
Hmm.
quite seem like a full budgeted movie, even though it might have had a bigger budget than the last one. It just seemed like there was a bit more to it. Um, and yeah, it started off crazy with the Chucky head. It's like whoa, and then it was kind of like the last movie where there was good moments, but in between there was a lot of not so good moments.
Yeah.
But it pretty much redeemed itself at the by the end, because yeah, by the end it was just like it just went off the rails crazy, and was like, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in there. Like I did like it overall. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good movie. It wasn't quite as satisfying as like the really early ones, or even Bride or Seed. Like it was like that was pretty decent, but it wasn't. I don't know, like I don't want to criticize it saying it could be better. It's just, yeah, it just seems like the last one they had like 45 minutes of a good movie, but the movie was an hour and a half, so they had to fill it with stuff, and there was some logic issues in there.
Yeah.
that just kept really tripping me up that we can get into. But overall, like I found it quite satisfying and definitely better than the last movie.
I think that we'll get into the way this one ended, but it ended in such a way that they left things so open that I wish Don Mancini had decided to explore this idea more. The idea of this cult of Chucky spreading across the country or spreading across the world. I think that that could have been so interesting with the Chucky and Tiffany dolls just propagating themselves everywhere, and taking over people as well. I mean, there are so many things that they could have done, but I guess he hung up his hat. Or no, he decided to do the show afterwards. And I'm not qualified to talk about the show because I have not watched an episode of it. I don't know if it continues on this path, but I thought it was really interesting. I wish that they had come out with another movie. I think that they probably could have released it to the theaters, just banking on that nostalgia.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, in this one, we start off with Andy Barclay, who was the little boy in the first two movies and the teenager in the third movie. Now he's in his 40s, but he's been haunted by Chucky all this time. And as we saw in the end scene of the last movie, Chucky came for him again, and he blasted Chucky's head with a shotgun, and
Yeah.
blew half his head off. So now it turns out he's kind of going around. He's trying to prove that Chucky is real. And in his home, he has this safe he opens up, and he kept Chucky's severed head, a real live, talking, living severed head that's half blown off. And he spends his free time torturing this head just to torment Chucky. And then we cut to a mental hospital where Nika from the last movie, the main character from the last movie, is now locked up in this mental hospital, and they've basically kind of forced her to believe that Chucky wasn't real and that she's the one that committed all the murders from the last movie.
Hmm.
So she's locked up in there, and as part of their therapy or her therapy, the doctors bring, which is the dumbest thing ever, bring in a good guy doll to like, oh, help
Yeah.
prove that this isn't real. And of course, we know exactly what's going to happen. But then it gets interesting because all of a sudden, Tiffany Valentine, who's played by Jennifer Tilly, she shows up, and from Seed of Chucky, we know that she has the evil Tiffany doll's spirit in her, and she claims that she is the legal guardian of the little girl Alice from the last movie. So I don't get how the hell she got custody. I don't know if that makes sense, but somehow she did, and she's like, "Sorry, but Alice is dead." But she would want you to have this Chucky doll that she bought. It wasn't the crazy one that tried to kill them, because that one's in Andy Barclay's safe being tortured. But here's another good guy doll that she would want you to have. So now there's two good guy dolls, and we assume, okay, Chucky's spirit is in this one, which turns out to be correct.
Yeah.
So now we have two dolls running around this place, and Chucky, find out later, he puts his spirit into the second one. Eventually, a third doll shows up, and it gets really wacky. But
Yeah.
basically, for the most part, there's two dolls that start knocking people off at the hospital, and of course, they all get blamed to either they're doing it to themselves or the crazy Nika girl is killing them all.
Yeah. Now, there's a logic problem with this one right from the very beginning for me. And that is the fact that Nika has been going through hypnotherapy with her doctor. And we'll get into this doctor in a little bit, but she's been going through hypnotherapy and she's been giving them the answers that they want to hear, that she's the one that did it and that Chucky's a figment of her imagination and all that sort of business. Either she is really, really, really good and smart and is able to fool her way into making this doctor think that she's hypnotized and she's not, and she's telling them what they want to hear, or what the hell? Because in her subconscious, she knows that it's a lie. She knows that Chucky is real. So I don't understand how either she's really, really good at deceiving her doctor or something's not right. Either way, she gets transported to a medium facility, a medium security facility, and that's why all of a sudden she's allowed to walk around and these dolls are around and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the whole thing just seems weird. And then they have
Mhm.
the total cop out where the right at the beginning, the nurse is like, "Oh, there's no security cameras in this place."
Yeah.
What was his excuse for that? Do you remember what his excuse was?
I don't remember, but
But
it was strange.
yeah, he just had some reason that they don't have security kids. Like they would have in every facility like
Yeah.
that, especially a prison where you're dealing with violent, psychotic inmates. You would
Yeah.
have security cameras, but of course they had to have that in there as a plot device for why they don't have footage of Chucky killing people.
Right.
And even just things like they have like a cemetery there where they bury their own dead on their own property. Like that just seems
That seems odd. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just and even just the way that it's set up, like the nursing station where the nurse sits is at the end of this long corridor, this long freaky looking corridor,
Hmm.
and their back is to it. Like why
Yeah.
would they have a nursing station just like it's just like in the usually it's against a wall, but they just for cinematic purposes to get a nice shot, they have it in the middle. But then they have it that the nurse like where all the patients are in their rooms in this corridor is behind them. I've never seen a building that
No.
kind of setup. It's so bizarre.
Very
Uh,
strange.
and then there's just minor things like well not really minor, but Chucky when he first shows up and we see him
Yeah.
walking around the evil doll, he goes to the nursing station and like opens a drawer and takes out a scalpel. Like I don't
Yeah.
think they have like sharpened medical tools in a drawer at the nurse's desk. There's so many
Yeah.
things like that where it's like, come on, like every
It
5 minutes there was something like that.
it's not that kind of hospital too. It's not a surgical hospital. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure they have surgeons on site and medical doctors who have access to surgical tools, but those would be in specialized areas where they perform surgeries, not just kicking around.
just in a drawer where anyone could rifling around looking for paper clips could be touching them. Like it just
Yes, any of these patients who could be suicidal at any given time could access this stuff. There was all sorts of dangerous stuff that they were able to get at. It was very weird.
yeah.
It was very odd. There were all sorts of different implements that people could use to harm themselves in a place where people go who have the potential to self-harm, which is very strange. Some of her roommates included there was a homeless woman that they picked up who thinks she's a ghost, which is seems odd for a medium security mental facility to put somebody like that in there who just thinks they're a ghost. That's it. We got a guy with multiple personalities whose name is Multiple Matthew, who is kind of an annoying character, the annoying comic relief character. We've got a woman who suffocated her baby, and she'll become important as the mother of this Chucky doll that's brought into therapy. And then we've got a young woman who I don't know why she's there other than the fact that she's angry a lot. Did do you
Yeah,
know?
I don't remember. Yeah, I guess she's angry. I guess we just assume she has some sort of issue. They just never explained it, but she's there for some reason. But she's other than she's pointing out the bullshit, or she's of course she's on. I don't believe that Chucky's real until
Yeah,
she realizes Chucky's real, and then she's
yeah.
all angry and arguing that he's real. But yeah, she doesn't seem to have any particular mental issue like the others do.
I thought that she set something on fire, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, if they did something, I missed it. But
Yeah,
they did try to have like it's kind of like the Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where they have this diverse group of interesting characters in this place. But compared to Nightmare on Elm Street 3, these ones are not that interesting.
no,
The multiple personality guy, and of course he's like Mark Zuckerberg. He's like Mark Zuckerberg for a bit, and like
yeah.
it's just like they're trying to be these like pop culture things, and it's like it's not really funny, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I don't think that's how MPD works either. I don't think you just pick a famous person and you're them for a little bit, and then they're one of
Yeah,
your personalities. I don't think it works that way.
pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think this movie is accurately represents the mental health world. It's probably quite insulting to the whole thing
I
to
would say so.
be honest. But it's like you could forgive that just because it is a slasher movie when it comes to it, and those
Yeah,
things are forgivable. You're
like
you're kind of right in that there was a lot of stuff. It was like this is decent, it's okay, and it got really good at the end. But one of my main problems is I didn't like the way Chucky looked.
oh, really?
I just yeah, there's something about it. Like the animatronics were fairly decent, but compared to
Mm.
last or compared to Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky,
Oh, yeah.
it just wasn't as good. Like it is, so they didn't quite get his face right, or I don't know. There's something it just kind of bothered me a little bit every time he talked, and even the way he walked, it kind of seemed less believable than the ones from the '80s. Like it
Yeah,
just I don't
they
know.
added a squeak to his walk this time, and I don't know why. All of a sudden, he makes a little squeak when he walks, like a quink, quack,
Weird. I didn't
quink,
even
quack.
notice.
It's very weird, and it doesn't happen all the time. But I thought it was neat that they kind of tried to differentiate between the Chuckies a little. They gave one a really stupid haircut, and
Yeah,
but that's just so that you could tell which Chucky is which, because that was a plot trick that, as Brandon mentioned, the first Chucky is introduced via therapy, via therapy session. The second Chucky, the Chucky that had Charles Lee Ray in it, was introduced when Tiffany Valentine came to visit and said that Alice was dead. And the third Chucky arrives on the scene because Andy Barclay sent a Chucky a Chucky doll to the facility with the express idea, after he learned that there's a potential that Chucky was killing, I don't know how, on an internet site, all of a sudden it said, oh yeah, there's a doll killing in the psychiatric facility. I don't know how they knew. I don't know how that word got out. But so he decided that he was going to get himself committed. And then he hit a gun, a handgun, inside the stomach of this Chucky doll. So the whole idea was get yourself committed, get into the facility, rip open that Chucky doll, get the gun, and shoot the bad guy Chucky doll. I don't think that he figured that there would be three of them when he got there, that were
yeah.
all alive.
There were just problems. Part of it too is that like Andy Barclay, like we see him in the opening scene.
Hmm.
He's like on a date with a woman, and she's kind of like, gee, I don't know if I want to get into this because you have this traumatic past or whatever.
Yeah,
And then we have the scene he goes home and he's torturing the Chucky head, and then you see him going. He went to the mental facility with the talking Chucky head and is like,
yeah,
look at this proof that he's real. And of course they think it's some sort of trick.
yeah.
Um,
You should work in special effects in the movies. That's what
yeah.
they told him.
So then he mails the Chucky doll with the gun inside of it to the hospital so that he
Yeah,
can hopefully get in. And he tries to have himself committed, but they won't let him in. So he punches a security guard, and then they let him in. But I think if you assaulted a security guard, they wouldn't lock you in a mental hospital. They probably just call the cops and
yeah. You'd go to
pull off
jail.
to jail.
Yeah,
But whatever, for some reason they lock him in a room with the Chucky doll, and then but that doll has Chucky's. Oh no, they don't lock him in the room with the doll. They lock him in a room, but then Chucky puts his soul into this third doll,
hmm,
and the third doll goes in to kill Andy, and then Andy rips the gun out of him and then shoots the Chucky doll, the one that he mailed. Uh,
yeah. But he
but then you
wasted
don't
all of his
see,
ammo. It was dumb. He was being dumb.
yeah, he like pulls his doll away. Of course, there's two other Chucky dolls that come in, but
Yeah.
then they end up they just leave Andy locked in there, and that's the last you see of him.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
the
kind
last
of
we see of
figure
Andy.
he's technically the main character of the whole series. He's been there since day one, from the time he was like 6 to the time he's like 40. But they don't. It's just they kind of just leave him there, and then it's like, yeah, forget about him. His story's done. It's like, well, why was he even in the movie? Just it seemed like a wasted opportunity.
Well, it was so that they could do the scene where he smokes a joint with the Chucky head.
Oh, okay. Oh, was that a after credit scene?
No, it was during the movie. It was during the movie. It was before he gets himself
okay, oh
committed.
right, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
He,
okay. No, I didn't see that. Yeah, I remember.
it was so weird. Andy's a real freak too. Andy's got all sorts of weaponry. Andy's got like a whole wall full of guns and machine guns and all sorts of stuff. He's a real prepper. He's a real Laurie Strode from Halloween 2018, that's for sure.
Yeah, and in the opening scene, his date is kind of, she's like, oh, like, I don't know if I want to get mixed up with some crazy gun nut. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, he's like, yeah, he's like, I own a firearm, but I'm not a, I'm not a gun nut. And then you go to his house and it's just like weapons.
It's all
He's just
guns. Yeah.
preparing for shit to go down with Chucky, even though he's a severed head. But
You got to
what did,
figure. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what did you think of the kills in this movie?
I thought they were for the most part good. Once again, they did the thing with the glass. So,
Yeah,
yeah. In this one, the angry woman who is blaming Nika for all the deaths, who has just now realized that Chucky is alive because it bit her when she was trying to go throw him down the trash chute. She is sedated because she's having a reaction. She's having an angry outburst and strapped to a table. And then everybody goes to multiple Matthew is causing problems somewhere else. So everybody goes to run and deal with him. Chucky walks into the room where she's being held, and there's a skylight over top. And he breaks a compressed air canister so that it goes flying up in the air and it breaks the glass. And they've done this kill once before in Bride of Chucky with
Yeah.
the thief couple who were in the waterbed. And Tiffany breaks the mirror that's over top of the bed, and all the glass comes down and cuts them to pieces. This one they tried to make it a little bit gnarlier where parts of her were flying off and going flying everywhere from the glass. But again, it was done with relatively shoddy CGI and it didn't look very good. Compared to the rest of the movie, it looked kind of crap.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that was a yeah that was not so good of a kill. Um, but it's also just another one of those things where I find it hard to believe that they're not putting any credence in the fact that it might be this killer doll, considering
Hmm.
by this time there's been so many people. You have this Andy Barclay guy, and it's like maybe one person could be crazy and think it's a killer doll, but his mom verified it,
Yeah,
and they locked her up. She was a completely normal, sane woman, and she verified this story. And the things the police would have gone there and found this doll in the thing with the first movie. Like the police shot the hell out of this doll.
yeah.
So they would have had the police would have had to write a report because they fired gunshots at a doll. It just seems like how could they not believe this? And then finally get to the point where they said there's been like 37 murders over
Yeah.
the years attributed to this doll, but everyone that witnessed it is definitely crazy. It, it seems like what? Come on, guys! Like maybe there's something to this. And then, of course, for the therapy, let's bring in the doll that is
Yeah.
scaring this woman and is now scaring the other patients too. And then I can't remember her name, but the one that gets killed when the glass falls on her, she's holding the Chucky doll. She's gonna like throw it out, throw it down the trash compactor, and it bites her.
Yeah.
And the head guy there, the head psychiatrist guy, and the nurse, like they witness her. She's holding it, and then she's like, "Ow!" and then drops it. So they come running up. What happened? And she's like, "Chucky bit me." And they see a bite in her arm, and they're like, "Oh, what did you do to yourself?" And she's
Yeah.
like, "You just saw her. Like you saw her. Like she had no mark on her arm, and then all of a sudden there's a mark on her arm, and she's saying the doll did it." But they just refuse to believe. So
That's
they
a, it
strap
was
her to a
bloody
table.
too. A
What's that?
bloody, she didn't have blood in her mouth and it was a bloody bite.
Yeah, like they couldn't figure this out, but they strap her to a table, give her an injection, so they're like, okay, she's still conscious and awake, but she can't move. So
Yeah.
she's strapped to a table, can't move. So they bring the Chucky doll that she's terrified of. She's even like, no, get it away from me. They bring the doll in and sit it on a chair looking at her
Yeah.
while they run off to go deal with some other problem. Like these people are incompetent. It just I have a hard time believing like all of a sudden there's been like 3 4 murders and strange deaths that have happened right when you bring in these Chucky dolls that have a 40-year history of killing people, and they're just not even willing to entertain the possibility that this might be real. Like even if you don't believe it, get the dolls out of there. Don't bring in the very thing that's traumatizing your patients. Like it just obviously they're doing it because they need the movie to happen, but there was a
Yeah.
lot of I just had a hard time with the movie based on its premise. I had to ignore a lot of logical bullshit just to like watch the Chucky kills.
And they also had to make a guy gross for no reason again.
Yeah.
The hypnotherapist is, it turns out, has been raping Nika this whole time when she's been under hypnotherapy. And that doesn't really go anywhere other than the fact that Chucky really wants to kill him as a result of it. When Chucky doesn't need a reason to want to kill anybody, he just kills everybody for fun,
Well, he said
right?
he partly likes the guy, or is me. He's like I don't know whether to kill this guy or take notes.
Yeah.
But they do the same scene twice because
Yeah.
you think that
Yeah.
this guy he seems normal, like he seems like oh he's a decent psychiatrist. All
Hmm.
of a sudden he's alone with Nika, hypnotizes her, and while she's hypnotized, all of a sudden he's like kissing her and being really disgusting. And then Chucky clobbers him over the head with a bottle, breaks the bottle, and he's like, "Hey, Nika, like kill him." And
Yeah.
she's like, "No, she won't do it." And you think that the guy's dead, but it turns out he's not. He comes out, he appears a few minutes later, and he's totally fine. No, he's not hurt from the bottle. He has
Yeah.
no recollection of being clobbered. Um, And then the next time he has another hypnotist session with Nika, where he does the same thing. He starts creeping on her again, and
Yep.
again, Chucky hits him with a bottle. It's like they just didn't come up with a new idea for another scene. I thought that was weird.
Very weird. What did you think about the end of this one? Because the end of it takes a very strange turn at the end.
It does. I watching the movie, I would not expect the way it ends. Like spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
basically Chucky, the original doll. Well, I guess it's not the original doll, but it's the one that has Charles Lee Ray's spirit in it.
Hmm.
Go is put into Nika. So now Nika is walking around, but it's actually Charles Lee Ray. And there's two other Chucky dolls because Charles Lee Ray on some website or something found a way through voodoo. He can now put himself, like split his personality into multiple people or dolls. So now there was three dolls, but now there's one Nika and two dolls. One of
Yeah.
those dolls gets killed by Andy Barclay. The other one uh, kills the final nurse or whatever he does, and then basically he's missing an arm and he sits in a chair and that's it. So then Nika, who's actually Charles Lee Ray, goes out to where Tiffany is waiting outside in the car, and they kiss. And then, of course, Nika's kind of like, I'm a woman now, so this is kind of weird. But
Hmm.
Tiffany's like, yeah, I can deal with it, whatever, it's fine. So they get in a car, and then you see that the Tiffany doll is in the
Yeah.
back seat, and they're all smiling, laughing, and they drive off together with the two women, one of whom is Charles E. Ray, and the doll, and
Yeah. And
they
so they've found this way to spread, like Brandon said, they found this way to spread their consciousness to all sorts of different things, which is such an interesting concept that they could have explored in a further movie because anyone who you dealt with could end up being a Charles Lee Ray or a Tiffany Valentine, which I think would be very interesting. But what are you going to do? They stopped.
yeah,
And
whether
like
or
I
not
said, I
we
don't
ever
know
get
where the
anything else in
yeah.
this, like, I mean, suppose in the future they can make one, but
Unless that's what they do in the series, which I should eventually watch at some point in
I
time.
really have no interest in watching it. I
No?
just, I'm just not. I quite
Yeah.
frankly don't really care. Like, I don't like series that are made from movie. I just like the shorter type story. But
Yeah.
I heard good things about it. But my impression, I could be
Mhm.
wrong, was that they kind of went more just back to the original.
Mm.
This doll, it turns out to be creepy, but
Yeah.
or it turns out to be a killer. I could be wrong though, but as far as we know, in terms of the movie, it's like, yeah, this is where it ends. There's another movie, but it's a remake, so this is where
Yeah.
the story ends. But yeah, it
And we'll
kind of
talk
ended.
about that one next.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
But it was interesting watching Fiona Dourif turn into her father, though. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and honestly, she did a damn good job.
Yeah. She's a
Like
really good actress.
yeah, she's good. Like she's good. I didn't really notice it. Like playing Nika, like she was good. I didn't notice her as being
Mhm.
really good though. It was like, yeah, like, she's good. As soon as she was playing Charles Lee Ray, it's like, oh, like she could have just played herself with a slightly deeper male voice kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, like her face and the way she stood and the way she moved, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's
Even the way
pretty.
her hair was. I mean, like all of a sudden her hair was kind of back and she looked more like her dad, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
it just and they'd even had a funny note when Tiffany Valentine first appears when you first see her. Nika's like, "Has anyone ever told you you look exactly like Jennifer Tilly?" And then she's like, "Yeah, I get that a lot." And I was like,
Yeah.
"You also have the exact same voice."
And there's a different point near the end too where she introduces herself as Jennifer or something like that, and then she says, "Oh, I even forget
Yeah,
sometimes."
I think I get confused myself sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, the movie by this point has gone. It's kind of half meta, half batshit crazy, where it's like Jennifer Tilly's body, but Tiffany's the doll's soul in her, but the doll is also alive too. And then there's Nika, the girl, but she's actually Charles Lee Ray, and
Mm.
it's gotten pretty crazy. And it's kind of funny how far the series has come since the first movie was just about a killer doll, and now there's like it's just all sorts of wacky stuff. But it is a lot of fun. And overall, I like this movie. When it's done, I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. It was definitely better than the last one.
Now, did you
Um,
see the extra scene after the credits?
I remind me what it is. I think I saw it.
Somebody
Oh
is
yes, I
paying a
did see. It. I did see it. I
yeah.
did. See it. Yes. Okay.
Someone pays a visit to that Chucky head that's living in Andy Barclay's house.
Yeah, do we want to ruin it or?
Yeah, we might as well. We're ruining everything else.
So yes, way back in Child's Play 2, there was the teenage girl Kyle who teamed up with Andy to defeat Chucky at the end, and we never saw her again. She just kind of disappeared until this end credits scene where she comes back and pays severed Chucky head a visit.
And he reminds us who it is too, because he goes, Kyle, like
Yeah,
that.
honestly, I probably wouldn't have recognized her. Was that
Yeah,
the
I
same
wouldn't have
actor?
either. Yeah, it was the same actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she's just much older now. I probably wouldn't have recognized her. So I'm glad he said that. I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah.
kind of a nice
Something
Easter
that
egg.
I wanted to mention before that I forgot was if you are Andy Barclay and you've got this internet footprint that's a mile long about how a freaky doll has been following you around killing people and everybody thinks you're crazy, wouldn't you change your name?
Yeah, that too.
People have changed their names for far less.
And it just seems like there's a lot of dickheads out there. Like
Yeah.
there's other people that witness this killer doll. Like there's those cops from the first movie.
Yeah.
There's other people like, and everyone thinks this guy's crazy. Especially when you realize like, okay, this doll has been murdering like dozens of people.
Hmm.
Wouldn't you come forward and confirm that story to try to help stop this madness? But
Yeah,
they're
at
just
the
like, I
very
don't want to
least,
look crazy.
at the very least, you could sell your story like the guy from Hatchet, right?
Yeah, like
Make money off
yeah.
of it.
By the way, what would you rate this one?
You know what? I talked a lot of shit about it in this analysis that we're doing, but I really did like it, and there was a lot of cool stuff in it and a lot of cool concepts, and I thought they left the door open for a lot more cool things. And I really, really liked the transformation of Nika into Charles Lee Ray. I thought that was cool, and I gave the movie an 8 out of 10 overall.
Holy shit! Wow,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'd give it a 6.5,
Yeah.
kind of, it was somewhere around there. Yeah, like it was good. It just a lot of the problems weren't so much just the movie. It was just the logic behind the movie. There was
Yeah.
so many things, and then even just like, oh, they want to the woman who smothered. I guess we should maybe mention that, who smothered her baby. That's why she's in
Hmm.
this hospital. She takes one of the Chucky dolls and is like, "This is my baby," and it's kind of
Yeah.
like her surrogate baby, and she won't let it go. And but she eventually smothers it again. So they somehow feel like, oh, if we have like a funeral for this baby that she wants, like it'll help with her therapy. So they like dig a hole there, and then
Yeah.
there's like a priest that comes out and they do like a ceremony and they bury the Chucky. Like it, I'm like, I don't think they do this at mental hospitals. It
I don't
just
think they
seems so
do
weird.
either. Yeah. There, I recognize that actress from things as well. I know that she's Canadian, but I can't think of what I saw her in, but she seemed very familiar.
Hmm. Yeah. So overall, it was an okay way to end the series. It would have been nice if they could have ended on something more epic, like Seed of Chucky, or at least something on that level.
Yeah,
But these ones, I think they were straight to streaming or straight to video,
yeah.
whatever. So it was, wouldn't say it's a downer, but it was an okay way to end it as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
All right, well that's it for this one. We'll be back next time to talk about Child's Play 2019, the remake. So
Hmm.
thanks for
I'm making
watching, and
this
we'll see you
face.
next time. Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm back again with Ben Metcalf from 3 Minute Horror Reviews, and we're finishing our review of the Child's Play slash Chucky movie series. And we got to the end where we're now going to be talking about the remake, Child's Play 2019. I have some strong opinions about this one. I don't know about you, Ben, but I'll let you go first. What do you think of this?
I have some very strong opinions about this movie. 10 seconds into it, I already didn't like
Yeah.
it. It's full of AI nonsense bullshit. Like this doll is controlling things is supposed to be run by AI, and it's controlling all your smart devices. They tried to modernize all of this business. I hate the look of the doll. The look sucks. I hate it. Um, I wrote down in here that Mark Hamill is the voice this time. It's not Brad Dourif any longer. Now it's Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill's fine. He's a fine actor. He seems like a nice guy, but he's not the right voice for this doll. And this doll looks exactly like Skylar Elizondo or Gizondo. Skylar Gisondo, the guy who played Jimmy Olsen in the James Gunn Superman movie that came out
Oh,
last summer.
okay.
The doll looks exactly like him. It would have been so funny if they had got him to do the voice, but they didn't. And I, like so many of these remakes before that Brandon and I have talked about. We talked about the Friday the 13th one. We talked about the Nightmare on Elm Street one. Like so many of these, it would have been such a good story had they not put the Chucky coat of paint on it. Had it just been a movie about an AI doll that came to or that got programmed wrong or something happened with it, and it ended up being bad. But I suppose if they had done that, it would have just been Megan, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very similar story.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
Yeah, this movie sucks. It's bad.
Yeah.
Although I will give a tiny bit of credit. I tried the first time I tried watching it when it came out. I gave up like half hour in. I just hated it.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, you know what? If we're gonna do a review, I owe it to people to watch the whole thing. So I sat through the whole thing, and I'll say I kind of liked it better the second time I watched it. But
Yeah.
that's like it. Like it's not saying much. It's like yeah, like every scene pisses me off. And again, they have to have every character is just gross or annoying in some way. No one acts believably. The whole thing seems written. The opening scene is they're in Vietnam in the factory where they're making these dolls, and one of the workers, and they even have a little opening bit that advertises the doll. They mention that they have some sort of chip or something to control their behavior, so it's completely safe. So at the factory, one of the workers is working on this Chucky doll, and then his boss comes up and slaps him and starts yelling at him
Yeah.
and abusing him. So he's kind of like you know what, like fuck this place. I'm going to go into this doll and click on the computer and sabotage this thing that controls Chucky's behavior. So now it has this AI in it, but it has no controls. So this family ends up with this, or the mom and the kid end up with this particular doll. So
Yeah.
every character is annoying, and even the mom, like Aubrey Plaza, she's fine, but
She's
she's
playing herself. Aubrey Plaza has a tendency to play the same character that she always plays in movies and TV shows, and she's playing that character in this one too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she basically blackmails her. I don't know if it's like her boss or some employee at where she works, because
Yeah.
she's like, oh, like this doll has been returned as being defective. Like she wants it for her kid, but doesn't want to pay for it. So she's basically like, give this to me, or I'll tell your wife that you were banging the one of the employees in the break room, or like, and it's just like everything has to be gross, like just kind of gross
Yeah.
like that. And then there's her young son. I don't know, he's like 13 or something. He befriends these two other teenagers that live in his building, and they're just annoying as hell. Like
Yeah.
they really, really piss me off. Yeah, there's so many things that just don't make sense. Like we'll get into it. It just everything frustrated me.
Yeah.
But I think the fundamental problem is that it's not scary. The original one, it was like, here's a doll, you pull on it or whatever. It says three things like, hi, my name is Chucky. I want to be your friend. So the fact that, hey, this thing is saying other things and is moving around on its own is hard to believe and kind of scary. Now its purpose is to already do that. It
Yeah.
already can say anything. It can already walk around on its own. So how hard is it to believe that this thing could harm someone, especially
Yeah.
when it's like killing the cat? Like, yeah, this thing can walk around. It has a mind of its own. It's able to grab weapons. Like it's like if you had an AI robot in your house
Hmm.
that could just walk around and do stuff and pick up tools and do other kind of things, and it could say anything it wants, and it can learn and act independently. If you came home one day and the your animal's dead and your kid's like, the robot did it, you would have to be like, okay, like that's a distinct possibility,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely could happen.
do
Yeah.
that. Whereas if it's like, oh, this piece of plastic doll did it, well, no, that's crazy. That's impossible.
Yeah.
But it's like, how could you not believe that this doll did it? It doesn't, and just the whole thing, how it's like learning, and the teenagers are watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2,
Hmm.
and the Chucky doll is watching them, and he sees them laughing and having fun while watching violence. So he goes to the Chucky doll goes to the kitchen, grabs a knife, comes back, and he's like trying to attack them, and he's like, "Oh, I was trying to make you happy." It's like,
Yeah.
what is this thing, stupid? Like I just didn't buy any of it. And then the the mom has this new boyfriend who's
Yeah.
also a total creep. He's like they have multiple scenes where the boy walks in
Yeah.
and the boyfriend has his mom up against the wall or
Yeah.
whatever. They're like,
She's
"Oh, Andy," and they're fixing their
his mom is
clothes.
being dry humped by a balding ginger man.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, if you're gonna get it on with your boyfriend in the house, like do it in the bedroom. Don't do it right in the open in front of the door, right at the time where your kid gets home from school.
Yeah.
And then they have that scene later where they come out of the bedroom and the boyfriend's like doing up his pants or whatever, and of course the son's like grossed out by it, and then he's like yelling at him, and just every scene pissed me off. And then
Yeah.
like those two other teenagers, there was like the girl and then the fat guy and or the fat
Mm.
kid, and they're supposed to be like comic relief, but everything they said was so fucking annoying, and like I didn't find any of it scary. Like some of it could have been okay, like yeah, because it was a different movie, but
Yeah.
I it's like the original. It was like this doll that is not supposed to be alive is suddenly alive, and it was kind of creepy. Now it's like a doll that's already alive because it's AI, like it's an imitation of life. So it's like, so what's scary about it? It's just like learning violence and getting out of control. Like I don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing right from the beginning didn't sit right with me in the respect that if you're an abused worker and you want to get revenge, why are you getting revenge right before you end your own life? Because this guy ended his own life right after he did this. Why are you getting a revenge against some random kid in the Western world and not the
Yeah,
guy who's abusing you? It's just very odd, a very odd thing. But yeah, it just keeps on getting stranger and stranger as it goes. Andy, last name unclear because they never gave his last name. It could have been Barkley, no idea, but it is Andy in this movie as well. Is deaf, so he's got a hearing aid, which factors into the story several times throughout. Not in a huge way, but it does factor in. But these buddy dolls, right? Their whole thing is that they're AI. It's some Amazon stand-in company that they're a part of. I don't think I wrote down what the name of the company is.
or no,
Yeah, but it's
Kaplan, Kaplan.
Kaplan. Yeah, it's supposed to be like Amazon, right? And so they sell every type of device that you could possibly imagine, and they're all controlled by the one central hub sort of thing. And these dolls can key into that hub, and they have a little light finger like ET, like they've got a finger that lights up when they're doing smart home stuff. But they can control your television, they can control your thermostat, they can control pretty much anything in your house. Uh, this doll has all of its safeguards taken off. It's a pretty stupid doll in the beginning. It doesn't know anything. It has to learn from watching Andy and watching these other obnoxious teenagers, as Brandon mentioned, who are just like the personification of everything that's wrong with the internet right now, these kids. Um, Andy gets the doll. He wanted a phone. He gets a doll instead, which seems like a pretty sick burn on this kid. But I guess they don't have a whole lot of money. But Andy Barkley doesn't like to. I called him Barkley again. Andy, last name unclear, doesn't like two things. There are exactly two things he doesn't like. One is the cat named Mickey Rooney, who is an asshole cat who attacks him all the time. And the second thing is his mom's balding ginger boyfriend, who it turns out is a real piece of shit. And we'll get into that later. But so since the doll is learning everything by watching what Andy does, when he has an altercation with the boyfriend or when he has an altercation with the cat, he's recording everything all the time. Something to be aware of if you have one of these dolls and if you live in this fictional world is never say anything bad about anyone because the doll is a huge narc. This doll will blab all of your secrets to everyone whenever possible at the worst possible time. And it'll even control TVs and replay the video of you being a piece of shit. So, so don't do anything bad around this doll because you will get told on. And probably it will report back to the Central Corporation, who are probably reporting it to Palantir, and you'll end up with the government at your door. But eventually, Chucky does manage to start killing people because they make Andy upset. So, and he starts off with the cat, like Brandon mentioned. The pet does eventually die, I don't remember exactly what he does to the cat. Do you remember what he does
Like
to the
I think
cat?
he doesn't he like I think Andy catches him choking the cat, but then he's like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
but he
stop it!"
stops him.
And then later on, I think you just find the cat dead, and you don't know
Ah,
how he
okay.
exactly did. He should be
Yeah.
throttled.
In a pool of cat blood, and then Andy hides the body. Then there's a huge blow up between Andy and the boyfriend because Chucky has been being a narc and sitting around on a table and saying that this guy sucks or something like I hate this guy or
He's an asshole.
playing
Yeah,
back Andy's voice. And so there's a big blow up, and then Chucky decides that he's going to end this boyfriend, who it turns out has an actual different family that he's married to the woman and he has two kids. So he is off boning April Ludgate from Parks and Recreation just for fun on the side and dealing with this Andy kid when he's two-timing his wife. But I thought the way he died was actually, let me say, the kills that they actually perform in this movie, pretty good. I thought they were pretty good.
yeah. They're actually decent. There's two of them. One I didn't
Yeah.
like so much. We'll get into, but
Yeah. There's two before the shit hits the fan later.
yeah. And it's just another example. Like, why do they have to make everyone why do they have to make everyone shitty? It's like they could have
Yeah.
just had a boyfriend. You know, like obviously some teenager might not like his mom's new boyfriend. You don't have to make him a horrible human being.
Yeah.
And really, like you find out that some 13-year-old kid thinks you're an asshole. Is that really enough for you to go and confront him and be like, "Look here, you little bastard. If you have a problem with me, you come talk to me." Like, why would
Yeah.
he care? It's just like, okay, yeah, he's a teenager, whatever. Like, who cares? Like, what? How is this guy so sensitive? And then it's like, nah, we can't just have him be like kind of a normal guy. He has to be. You know, he's two timing his wife and he's got his family at home, and it's like, okay, whatever. But his death was pretty cool. Chucky runs him over with some, it's not a lawnmower, but some sort of
I think it was a
lawn,
snowblower.
yeah, something like that, and rips the guy's face off.
Yeah. But first he
And
falls from the roof, like from a
oh
ladder,
yeah,
and lands directly like you're not supposed to land, like directly with his feet, 2 feet hitting the ground first, and his legs just break. And you can
yeah,
see them, and it's really gross.
yeah. That was probably one of the grossest parts of the movie. um, yeah, and then we just get some weird stuff that it was actually kind of cool and a little bit darkly funny. Andy comes home and Chucky has like removed this boyfriend's face and hung the face in Andy's room. And of course, Andy's like, "Oh my god, what the hell?" So we call
He
his two
puts it on a
friends.
watermelon, so now it's a watermelon face.
Yeah, and so they're like, okay, so they wrap it up in like wrapping paper to hide it, and they're gonna go and like throw it out. But then the mom catches them, and of course the kid, he's like, "Oh, it's a present I made for the guy and his mom. I'll live up the hall." So she's like, "Okay, let's go give it to them." So he hands it to them, and of course, like it's like they can't open it because they'll see the severed face. So he's like, "Oh, just don't open it till my birthday," which doesn't make sense. Why would you give someone a present and then tell them not to open it
So
till your
stupid.
birthday when it's
Why
like a
would you
present?
give them a present for your birthday too?
Yeah, and then but it's like don't open it for another week, and then she puts this thing on the mantle. So Andy goes over to their house. He invites himself over for dinner just so he can get this thing back, and then it's like sitting there, and they're like, "Oh, they're gonna open it," and it's like it's just ridiculous. And he finally grabs it and then runs out and throws it down the trash compactor. But it's like really, if you want to get rid of murder evidence, don't just put it down there so it's going to sit in a dumpster in your building and get
Yeah,
found. Like go throw it off a bridge or something. Just the whole thing, it was so stupid. I just like I don't know. It really pissed me off.
it was dumb kid stuff. Like they asked a dumb teenager, like, what would you say in this situation? And then they wrote down exactly what the kid said. Because some kids, when they're telling lies, they're really, really bad at it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I didn't get it. Like the mom, did she know he was lying? But it just seemed
It's hard to tell with her because that's the character she plays. She always seems like kind of a sneak, like a little bit sarcastic.
yeah. But it's like wouldn't if she knew he was like
Yeah.
be like, oh, hey, open that up. What is it? Like I don't know. I didn't buy any of that. It just really annoyed me. And the whole part where the mom that lives in the apartment up the hall that he gave the present
Yeah.
to, she's like, oh, like she's going to bingo and this Kaplan company, the same company that made Chucky, they have these like self driving cars that you can
Hmm.
order. So she orders a self-driving car, and of course they can't just play it up like this is a normal thing with technology that exists. She has to just absolutely rub it in, like, wow, a self-driving car, this is so neat. And
Yeah.
it's like, yes, I get it that we have cool technology these days, and they're it's like you don't have to remind us in every single line, like over and over again. Like she's like waving to people, look at me in my self-driving car, and of course Chucky can like control it,
Yeah.
and then he crashes it and kills her. It's like every scene is annoying.
Yeah.
Like I would have rather them get rid of all the technology.
Yeah.
That whole aspect of it just seemed ridiculous, and it's like everything's connected, and at the end, Chucky can be controlling drones and everything, like, and
Yeah, he's
it gets
controlling
out of
all the
control.
toys that belong to this company that have been put out by this company, and they've got all sorts of weird Chuckies. Like the bear Chucky is
Yeah,
weird,
what the
and
hell's up with that bear? Like
I don't
it's
know.
supposed to be a toy for kids, it's supposed to be
Yeah,
like a friend,
it's
and they
got
have
big
like the
claws.
yeah, they have the one the bear. That bear looks evil. Like I'd be
Yeah,
creeped out to have that thing in my house, and that you're gonna give this to children. It's like the scariest looking bear ever.
there was one other kill before all of the shit hit the fan, and that was there's a weird, creepy landlord guy who you know is going to be a creep the second that you lay eyes on him when he's installing security cameras. You're like, okay, this guy is a creep. He kind of looks like Jack Black, but he's not Jack Black. He's some other guy that just looks like Jack Black. So he's the guy that you hire if you want someone who looks like Jack Black in your movie, but you can't afford him. You pay this guy. But he finds the Chucky doll in the trash, and he decides that he's going to refurbish it and then sell it online for a mint. And so somehow he has a hold of these power sources for these devices, and they look like little mini nuclear generators, these AI chips, I guess, that are powering all of these Z company devices. It's really weird, but so he brings Chucky back to life after Chucky has been effectively terminated by the children because he's been being a bad little doll. He's the one who's responsible for everybody coming for what happens in the later half of the movie. But he made a bad mistake because he brought Chucky back to life, and then he turned around to totally jork it big time while he was watching April Ludgate about to get into the shower. And then Chucky decided to kill him with a table saw. And that was pretty gross too.
I like that kill quite a bit, but
Yeah.
it's again, why does it every time they have like a male character,
Yeah.
they have to make him a creep? Like this
Yeah.
couldn't just be the landlord who's a normal guy. They have to make him he's like leering at the
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza, and he's got hidden cameras in there, and he just looks gross, and he's just
Yeah.
a huge perv. Why do they have to do that every time? They did that
Yeah.
when we did our review of Cult of Chucky. Like, oh,
Yeah.
here's the psychiatrist. No, we have to make it that he's like molesting the Nika while she's like hypnotized.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing that. And also, it doesn't make sense. Like his plan to refurbish and sell this doll. This doll is widely available in toy stores,
Yeah.
and so it's probably not that expensive. So how
And
much is he going to get for a damaged refurbished one? Like $50?
the very next day they're coming out with the Mark II model.
Yeah, like the Buddy
Yeah.
2 is coming out. So
Yeah.
he's got like an outdated model that's totally banged up and half destroyed and refurbished. Is
Unless
that
he's going
really
to
worth
sell it as something that's jailbroken, like as less like we took the safeguards off of it or something like that, which is is a possibility.
I don't think I don't think he knew that though. Like, assuming he just thought it was a regular doll, didn't he?
Yeah, I think maybe whatever it is, that device that he put in it at the end was going to jailbreak it. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It just that was dumb. However, the
Yeah.
kill was kind of although it doesn't make sense. Like someone's trying to kill you, why jump up on a table saw? But whatever. But eventually, he's hanging from a pipe,
Yeah.
and the table saw is running,
Yeah,
and
and then
he's like
Chucky
dangling above it.
turns the temperature up.
Yeah, and then Chucky turns the temperature up on the pipes so they heat up, so the guy falls on it. And yeah, that was a pretty cool scene. That was if the
Mhm.
whole movie could have been like that level of execution, it would have been good.
But it wasn't, unfortunately. And Brian Tyree Henry, who played the cop, who's a very funny actor, couldn't save this movie from its own bullshit, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's at the end. There's like they're unveiling the Chucky 2 doll. So there's like
Yeah.
all these people that are like lined up, kind of like Black Friday, whatever you call it. Like they all want to get in, but it's weird because usually they're outside the store,
Yeah.
waiting to get in. Now they're inside the store and everyone's like cheering. They can't wait to run,
Yeah.
and the employees are holding them back, which was kind of weird. But then all of a sudden there's like other Chucky dolls that are like going nuts. Chucky is like attached knives to the blades of these drones, so
Yeah.
they're flying around with spinning knives and they're attacking people, and it's way too over the top for a Chucky movie. And I like the killer doll aspect. You don't need to add other types
Yeah.
of death traps to it. I just thought it was kind of not good.
And they did the same thing that they do with a lot of them, where everybody thinks it's Andy until the very end, and then
Yeah,
everybody sees that it's Chucky. But I think there were the most witnesses ever for the Chucky reveal this time that it's the doll, because a lot of the people in the store did get killed, but a whole lot of them survived too and saw that there was a bad guy doll.
yeah, they would.
Mm,
So there's no excuse now for this,
yeah,
for no one to believe this anymore.
yeah, exactly. And plus, I mean, now we're in the informa we're truly in the internet age now, and the company would be able to see all that stuff happen to all their devices too. So,
I've seen that this they've done this before with other movies where it's just like, oh, they use modern technology in it, and
mhm.
it's honestly it's probably going to date the movie more,
Yeah,
like because like 10 years from now there's going to be like even better technology, or the stuff is just going to be so normal that it's like it's not
yeah,
cool, it's just it exists. So it's just like it's almost like the one from the 80s kind of seems more modern because they weren't like, hey, look at this cool technology we're using.
yeah.
But there it's just like, hey, it's like this is normal, this is a thing. Like I don't know,
10
I
years
just
from now, if we're all still alive, the dolls are going to be killing us anyway. So,
and it's like, yeah, on paper, it's like, hey, how about an AI doll? It's like, yeah, that's cool, but that is Megan. It's the
yeah, it's
Terminator when it
Megan.
comes down to it. So this is not new. This is not new territory,
No,
and it made Chucky less scary. So you had less because yeah, like I said, the originally was like this doll should not be talking
yeah,
and walking on its own, but it is. That's scary. Now it's like this doll is supposed to be walking and talking on its own.
yeah.
So what?
You
Why is it
you
scary?
you cannot have a Child's Play movie without some sort of voodoo Charles Lee Ray stuff in it.
Yeah,
You just can't.
yeah. It is like, yeah, they got rid of the cool wisecracking serial killer played by a good actor who just had a
Yeah,
cool voice, and now it's like a shitty looking doll with a stupid face that,
yeah.
and it's like, yeah,
Who sounds like Luke Skywalker?
yeah, yeah. It was bad. What would you give this one on a 1 to 10?
I gave it a five, just a plain old five, middle of
I,
the road. The kills were
I,
okay, the visuals were good. I didn't like the doll, but like it was a movie for sure. It was a movie. It was, I think it was a theatrical release too.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It was definitely had a higher budget, but I go 4.
yeah,
It was pretty poor, and it just like we've seen this before with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, where the remake is like bigger budget, kind of more expensive, but just not good. And they,
hmm
they never make a sequel to the remake because they
It
suck.
hasn't been done yet for any of
Yeah,
these things. So why do they keep doing it? That's the
yeah,
question.
yeah. I would have much rather have had part 8
Yeah.
or 7 or 8, whatever this one would have been that continued the last movie. I would have rather
hmm
had that.
So the thing, like, it's a side note here. Hellraiser, the remake of Hellraiser that they put out in I think 2019 as well. I think it was 2019.
I think it was 2022,
It
but
might have been 2022. I could be completely wrong. But there should be like that one was good. And it was
I haven't actually seen that one.
you haven't seen it? Oh,
No.
well then look forward to it when we do the Hellraiser movies. But it felt like more spiritually in line with the rest. And I'm surprised that one hasn't had a sequel yet because it was really it was quite good.
And it was well received. Like it
Yeah.
just seems like in horror circles, people generally like it. It could
Yeah.
just be they haven't done it yet.
Right.
That's probably likely is
Yeah.
that it's just in the works. It just takes a while to
Yeah.
get going. But,
Clive Barker's been working on that single player video game, the Hellraiser experience that's
yes, yes.
coming out very soon that should be quite good.
All
Hmm.
right. Well, that's it for the remake of Child's Play, and that's it for the entire series. So until something changes, that's where the series ends, and that's where our review of the series ends. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.